Welcome back, Truth Seeker. We're calling this one the Hater Hotline because there's haters always all over the place, spamming and talking shit all day. But you all know the truth, haters. It's another winning day in this community. Because what was my advice for the day in total? I said definitely put in a small parlay for the Bengals and the 49ers upsetting because it would be a big payout. Two big dogs who've been connected at the hip since Joe Burrow came in the league. We've been talking about this since he got drafted, even before he got drafted. That was advice today. Derrick Henry for the touchdown made a lot of sense. We had a caller who said number 11 on the Titans on the 11-date numerology goes with Derrick Henry getting his 11th touchdown. I said, yeah, that makes some sense. He hit a touchdown. I like the Derrick Henry touchdown even more. But if you took that advice, that was winning advice. And like we said if Burrow upsets the Titans, invest in those 49ers because we know how attached they are. Now, the downside was, the one thing that was wrong is, I said if you take the Titans, hedge with the Bengals. Definitely do that Bengals-Niners parlay because we knew that was very, very possible, especially on the anniversary of Super Bowl 23, which was today. Super Bowl 23 was Niners and Bengals. Niners over the Bengals. Joe Montana beating them for the second time. But, I did give the edge to the Titans because all year the 54s have hit with Joe Burrow in the Bengals' 54th season, drafted right after Super Bowl 54. Super Bowl 54 was 54 days after his birthday. Had the Bengals lost today, they would have been 5-4 away for the season against the Tennessee Titans, which equals 54. But we knew that the Joe Burrow narrative to win was still there, and he ended up doing it 54 days after his dad's birthday. But let's just say you didn't take my advice on the first game and you didn't put in a parlay and you just went with the Titans. Well, you knew once the Titans went down to come back and bet on the Niners, which was a big payout because they were dogs. So let's just say you lost 100 in the morning on the first game. Afternoon if you're on the East. Well, I guess actually, never mind. Both of them were in the afternoon. West Coast and East Coast. They started late. It's the playoffs. Normally out here on the West Coast, the early game's in the morning and it's in the early afternoon on the East Coast. I'm a West Coast guy. But both games in the afternoon today. Anyway, let's just say you lost 100 on the first game. You knew to come back and bet on the 49ers in game 2. And that paid a lot more than $100. And then you went on your prop bet, so it's a winning day all around again, as we continue to do. And not to mention, we're coming off another monster college football future. We saw that the championship should be Georgia over Alabama before week 2 was even played. People are sitting around here talking shit as we continue to rack up a legacy that can't be touched. You guys, I could be wrong about every single sports championship for the next 50 years, and I'll bet you right now in that next 50 years, even if somebody got... nobody's going to touch what we've done in the last 8 years. No one's going to touch it. Have you seen the work we've done in the last 8 years, college and pro? All of you guys who denounce it are nothing but haters and ignoramuses and fools. Because understand, it's about more than just calling the games. I'm showing you who's running the show, who this shit's all scripted through. I'm going to prove to you it's the Jesuits even further than you can believe that you already think you know. I'm going to show you just how Jesuit all of this is. And like I say, there's human sacrifice behind all this. The night Bob Saget died, I put out a video right away. It's only a minute long. I said Bob Saget was just sacrificed for the 49ers. And we knew when he was up against the Cowboys could go down with the same numbers Saget was sacrificed by. That's exactly what happened. Anyway, and don't forget, Full House, right? Full House, that was his hit show. Full House equals 49ers equals Saget equals the date numerology he died on equals 52, like how the Niners got to 5-2 in the wild card round, winning it in the Saget ritual. But Full House, that's card terminology. Texas Hold'em, 52 cards in the deck, they go into Texas and win. Anyway, look at this. What happened this morning before Cincinnati won in their 54th season? This is the breaking news. Right before Cincinnati wins their first ever road playoff game in their 54th season, Regina King, who has the same birthday as Martin Luther King, who was assassinated in Tennessee, who just got beat by Cincinnati. Shout out to Marco. Marco really liked the Bengals today. He thought Regina King just said the whole story. He's like, I think that sacrifice tells us the Bengals are winning. He was right on. Shout out to Marco. But look at Regina. Look at the name Regina, you guys. Regina, 54. 54. Remember, this all synced up through Joe Montana, 54. The Joe Montana Bowl. Chiefs, 49ers. Chiefs win it. Joe Montana wore 19 with the Chiefs, 16 with the 49ers. What was the score in today's game? 19-16, right? Tied up 16-16 last week. Look, you guys, you got to know Gematria. It's based on the alphabetic order, forwards and backwards with the rules of numerology. Joe Montana Bowl was Super Bowl 54, the first all-red Super Bowl, red 54. Last week, before the game even started between the Niners and Cowboys, the catch equals 40. It was 40 years ago in 1982. There ended up being 40 points in the game. And they were showing it. Number 16, Joe Montana with the catch. They were showing it before the game, during the game. They showed it several times over the course of the game, the catch. And it ends up being a 40-point game on the 40-year anniversary of the catch in favor of the Niners over the Cowboys again. And, you know, all year, you guys, you know, we talk about things in way greater detail on Patreon, but all year I give you guys free advice. All year I was showing you about Joe Burrow, 54, Joe Burrow, Joe Montana. Remember, in Week 16, Joe Burrow beat Joe Montana's record on a pass to Joe Mixon. How many more Joes do you need? And, again, Joe Burrow was the year of Joe Biden and Joe Tiger King and Joe Rogan getting the biggest contract in radio history. It was the year of Joe. But 19-16, those are Joe Montana's jersey numbers. Joe Montana, again, beat the Bengals in Super Bowl 16, and then again in 23, which was 33 years ago today. You know, here's the Super Bowl history. Super Bowl 23, January 22nd, 1989. Remember, San Francisco equals 122 on the 122nd meridian. Joe Robbie Stadium, San Francisco 20. How much did Cincinnati lose with? 16. You know? And probably the reason for 36 points is because the game was in Miami. You know, if they don't pay tribute to the teams on the field, they pay tribute to the city that the game's in. You go through all the Super Bowl history, you can see through all of it. Miami, 36 points in the game, 20-16. But this is why you understand the script and see big riddles. Aaron Rodgers today, you know, his favorite team's the 49ers. When he got drafted in the league, he came out of Cal early. He wore a Joe Montana jersey under his suit. He thought the Niners were going to take him number 1 overall because they had the number 1 pick. Instead, they go with Alex Smith. And supposedly it was Mike McCarthy, the offensive coordinator of the 49ers at the time, that preferred Alex Smith to Rodgers because he was more athletic, a better runner. And then Mike McCarthy the next year becomes the head coach of the Packers with Aaron Rodgers? Anyway. Rodgers can't beat the 49ers in the playoffs, his favorite team. All part of the big joke. And I mean, the fact that they got to give you 23 points in the game on the anniversary of Super Bowl 23 after they just did the Joe Montana tribute in the game prior? I mean, come on, you guys. Now, look. Regina King. You know, we just talked about Regina 54, right? Joe Montana 54. Where'd he go to school? He went to Notre Dame, the Catholic school. Who's the Jesuit order serve? The Jesuit order serves the Catholic Church. You see how Jesuit order's 54? Look how John Carroll's 54. He established the first Jesuit university, Georgetown, right after his 54th birthday. Big number at the Jesuits. Their logo's the sun. You see how sun's 54? It's also 9, like Joe Burrow wears 9. It's also 18. This was the 9th road game in the Bengals' history. The 9th road game. Notice both 9s won it today, right? Robbie Gould for the 49ers, named after the Gold Rush, number 9 wins it. 23 points, the 9th prime on a 45-yarder. 45's the 9th triangular. But the Bengals became 1-8 on the road all time. We're playing, you know, football. I know today's a Saturday, but normally it's on Sunday. You know, it's all Catholic Church. All roads lead to Rome. The Sunday worshipers, the Catholic Church that started out as the Sun Cult. So anyway, in the 54 season, number 9 gets them to 1-8 in the road all time. First ever road win in their 9th game. And again, it's 54 days after his dad's birthday, who played 3 games in the NFL and 51 games in the CFL for a total of 54 professional football games did Joe Burrow's dad play. And remember, Super Bowl 54 was 54 days after Joe Burrow's birthday, showing that he's born into it. Always talking about these father-son leagues, these people that are born for the game, who the leagues are scripted around. And I got to go back to something. You know, I went down to LSU. There's a video online. Somebody uploaded this. Classic Cars and Motorhomes. He was there. I went down to LSU after they beat Clemson in the championship to educate about all the ritual sacrifices from their town for that rigged championship. And the thing I taught people about the most was this right here. Billy Cannon. And I wish I knew. I wish I could rewind back then and know what I know now that I didn't quite know back then. Because look how sick this is. And it shows you that it is the Jesuits behind this all the way. Billy Cannon, he died May 20th, 2018 in St. Francisville. And here's the thing. Billy Cannon's 59, like Freemasonry, like LSU Tigers, American football is credited to a Freemason. Modern Freemasonry was created by the Jesuit order in the banking district of London. But here's the thing. The day that Billy Cannon died, that's the day that Joe Burrow transferred from Ohio State to LSU. And the thing is, Billy Cannon is the only Heisman winner ever for LSU prior to Joe Burrow winning the Heisman. And not only that, but Billy Cannon won the championship over Clemson in New Orleans, just like Joe Burrow did. And by the way, New Orleans has the 54 in it, also the 144, just like Jesuit order. And that 45 it has is like the Jesuit acronym IHS, and the 126 is another number of theirs, like John Carroll. Like how they, if you guys don't know this, the election for 2020 was simulated at Georgetown on June 12th, 12/6, 144 days before the election, saying Biden would win. And by the way, President Biden, who's a Jesuit just like Trump, 144-72, just like Jesuit order, 144-72, just like President Trump, 72. Anyway, you might have heard Trump the other night on Hannity bragging about, not really bragging, but saying that Biden has our energy in the worst situation it's been in 72 years. He kept saying it over and over and over. Understand, it's all Jesuit script. It's all Jesuit puppet show. But here's the thing. Billy Cannon, here's what's fucked up about this. This is what I didn't understand back when I went down to LSU. I didn't know this much. I didn't know what I know now. May 20th, Billy Cannon dies? Do you want to know why this is so fucked up and it screams Jesuit? Let me show you something. Ignatius of Loyola, watch this. May 20th, Cannon, watch this. On May 20th, 1521, Ignatius of Loyola is the founder of the Jesuits. Saint Ignatius was seriously injured when a cannonball shattered his legs. You want to know what happened this year, 201 days after the first ever Ignatian year began? See how Ignatius of Loyola is 201? Pope Francis is the first Jesuit pope. His birth name's Jorge Mario Bergoglio, 201. He's the first pope to live in suite, 201. Huge number with the Jesuits. The Jesuit order is 201. Order of Illuminati is 201, founded by a Jesuit, died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. Look at this. Nick Cannon, December 7th. Do you remember what we heard about with Nick Cannon on December 7th? This was 201 days after the first ever Ignatian year began. If you don't know about this Ignatian year, they did it this year. It began on May 20th. May 20th, this year, the first ever Ignatian year, because it was the 500th anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola getting shot by a cannonball. 201 days after. Where's the December 7th story? Here, on December 7th, this was 201 days after the Ignatian year began, began on the day he was shot by a cannonball. 201 days after the year began, we get the story of how Nick Cannon's child has died. Okay? You see how this works? Billy Cannon dead on that day. 201 days later, Nick Cannon's child's dead. This huge Jesuit number used over and over in their rituals. And again, where did Billy Cannon die? He died in St. Francisville? Who's the Pope right now? Is it not Pope Francis, the first Jesuit Pope? And keep in mind, the Jesuits are from France, and the last French Pope was the 201st Pope. See how this goes? And, I put out for free in the video. Where's the videos I put out? I know I put out a lot of videos, but if you caught this one right here, Joe Burrow wins Bengals, this one right here, I talked about the whole thing with the 49ers in 76 and the Bengals. Look at this. The word tiger is 76. You see that? It's also 59. It's also 59. We got to think about that. The reason we got to think about that is because the year of the Tiger begins February 1st of this year. And the Super Bowl, you see how Pope Francis equals 59? Pope Benedict stepped down on the 59th day of the year to make way for Pope Francis. I told everybody that Biden would win the 59th presidential election 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday and become number 46, Catholics 46. Exactly what happened. Biden's the second Catholic president. The first JFK, number 35, was killed at age 46. See how Catholics 35 and 46? But, again, don't go out and drop your whole bankroll on this, but I'm just putting this one out for free for you guys. This is a small lucrative bet you can still make that would pay a ton if they do it. Because next week the Bengals are going to be huge underdogs, and next week the 49ers are going to be huge underdogs. And again, the Bengals and Niners are attached at the hip. It's been all about the Tigers since the time of Super Bowl 54. When Super Bowl 54 was kicking off, they were doing all these tiger rituals with coronavirus, and I was pointing out everything. It's all here in my book. I mean, this book's been out for a year and a half. I talk about all the tiger stuff they were doing, from the college championship, Tiger King, and it was all about Joe as well. But the Super Bowl this year is on the 59th day of Pope Francis' age, and if you think that's stupid, well, you must have missed how we just called the college championship before week 2, because we pointed out that if the championship was Alabama and Georgia, which it looked like it was going to be, and Georgia beat Alabama, Alabama would pick up their 25th loss on the Pope's 25th day of his age. And Pope is 25, and Vatican's 25, and Devil's 25, and the Devil went down to Georgia, and the Pope Francis is obsessed with the Devil. They even wrote an article about it, CNN, on the 201st day of the year. Go back and look it up. But again, you guys, it's all synced with the Jesuits. They run the whole fucking show. So anyway, Pope Francis, what's interesting about him is he's named after Saint Francis of Assisi. And San Francisco is named after Saint Francis of Assisi, right? And you see how Pope Francis is 122? So is San Francisco, the city on the 122nd meridian. And what day do the Bengals and the 49ers both win? They both win on 122. You see? 122. 33 years ago today, Super Bowl 23, Niners over Bengals. Niners have 23 combined points. Bengals pay tribute to the Joe Montana jersey numbers. You see? And the other thing we talked about today is these records up here are not updated. The Bengals became 12-7 for the season because they won last week in the wild card and this week in the divisional round. They're 12-7. Same with the 49ers. 127. Look at the name Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow, 127. 127 is the 31st prime. 31 years ago was the last time the Bengals won a playoff game over Houston, who's now the Tennessee Titans. You see? And so again, just to think about all this, again, just to make sure we're clear here, we know that Billy Cannon was sacrificed for Joe Burrow in clearly a Jesuit ritual because the Jesuits control the whole fucking thing. And where are the Jesuits from again, you guys? France. Where did he die? In Louisiana. Remind me, was the Louisiana Purchase from France? It sure was. If you don't know that, I don't know where to start. But again, St. Francisville, of all places, right? St. Francisville. Here, you want to see what else just happened with the Jesuits? Watch this, you guys. I want you to understand how much the Jesuits control. I want you to understand how much they control. We're going to go back to Adolfo Nicolas's death. He's the superior general of the Jesuits who died on May 20th, 2020, and I want you to see how perfect this is. He's the superior general, dead at 84, right? Superior general's 84, like Jesuit, like the Jesuit order, like the Catholic Church. Pope Francis was in his 84th year of life at the time, born on a date with 84 numerology. And here, skip down. Adolfo Nicolas, there's a lot of things that are interesting here, but he died on the day leaving 225 days left in the year. You see this? 225 days. Now, what happened in the world 5 days after this? 5 days later, right? Do you remember? It was the George Floyd killing, and I want you to see how this all comes together, how perfect all this is. Adolfo Nicolas dies on the day that Ignatius Loyola began forming the Jesuits because he got shot by a cannonball. Same day Billy Cannon dies. Same day synced up with Nick Cannon's child's death in the first Ignatian year. but Adolfo Nicolas, 225, dead on the day, leaving 225 days left in the year. Notice the 54s down there. You see what I mean? Notice the same old numbers we're talking about all over the place. And here, George Floyd, born on October 14th, dead on Memorial Day, May 25th. You see this? October 14th, right? Watch this. October 14th, his last birthday would have been 2019, to May 25th. Check this out, 2020. It's 224 days later, but if you count the span of days, he died on his 225th day of his age, right? Now watch this. Minnesota church, sexual abuse, 22.5 million. Watch this. St. Cloud Diocese to pay abuse victims 22.5 million. What day is this from? This is from May 27th, 2020. Remember what day the George Floyd news broke? It didn't break on May 25th. We didn't hear anything about George Floyd on May 25th. We heard about the white woman choking her dog while calling the police on a black man in Central Park all day that day. Then the next day we saw the video of George Floyd getting choked out by the park police. And that stuff's not an accident. Because all Memorial Day we saw this racist story having to do with choking and a dog. And then the next day it's George Floyd getting choked out by the police. And then the day after that, it's the news breaking. And we were covering this the day of. I said, hold on, man. 22.5 million. He's dead on his 225th day of his age. And then do you remember George Floyd's teacher comes out? Waynell Sexton. Do you remember this one? Do you remember this one? George Floyd's second grade teacher, Waynell Sexton, shares an essay and drawing. Anal sex. Raping little boys, 22.5 million suit. George Perry Floyd, full name, 201. Adama Traore killed in Paris, France, June 19th, 2016, the 201st day of the leap year. From Adama Traore's death, just like George Floyd's, to George Floyd's killing exactly 201 weeks. And their two names were protested together in Europe. Now this year they come out and set the jury trial for George Floyd. Or they picked the jury on 20/1 and set the trial start date for June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. And this is all synced up with the Capitol insurrection, which came 201 days after the sacking of the only Confederate statue in D.C., which was a result of the George Floyd riots. Again, this is all how the Jesuits control this whole nation. Dividing everybody with the news, distracting everybody with the sports games, you know? And again, so that's why all of my haters, you guys, you know who you are? You're the guys who like getting essentially abused by these Jesuits and Catholic scum, you know? And I'm not saying all Catholic people are scum, and I'm not saying all people who are Jesuit educated are scum, but I'm saying the people that do this shit are scum. You guys are on their side. You're trying to take me down. You're trying to just sit there. I mean, look at all you guys. There's like a pack of 100 of you that come out when I'm wrong about something. You just sit there, I guess, with Waynell Sexton up your ass while we're right, and then you bitch all day about the one thing that's wrong. Again, today is another winning day. Correct advice on the parlay to take, which I highly advised Bengals and Niners. I said you don't have to put much on that to get a good payout on that. Two nice dogs. I said, you might even want to throw a little $5 bill down in case it's the Super Bowl, in case they're going to do this. And just understand, for people who aren't on my Patreon, who are only here for the free information, you don't know everything that I know. I'm not saying it's Lock City, that it's Bengals and Niners. Far from it. But this narrative has some serious legs, because the Super Bowl, I didn't even tell you everything. Here, let's come back to this for a second. You see how San Francisco's 76? Just like Tiger is 76. And Tiger's also 59, and the Super Bowl is going to be on the 59th day of the Pope's age. Again, the Super Bowl will be 76 days after Joe Burrow's dad's birthday. And again, sports are all about the father-son relationships. 76 days. Now, in the last round of the playoffs, the Cowboys-Niners game, that game was on Jimmy Garoppolo's 76th day of his age. And the Cowboys fell to 7-6 by losing in the wild card round. And that game was at the end of Capricorn, and Capricorn's astrological symbol looks like 76. Now today, Aaron Rodgers just picked up his 76th career loss. Aaron Rodgers just got his 76th loss, which we were looking at in a big way, you see? And if you look at Aaron Rodgers' birthday, it's December 2nd. He's from the Bay Area. 12-2. Ends up going down to San Francisco on 122. But, yeah, I mean, if you don't like the work that I do, you're just a fucking hater, period. Because here, let me remind you about something. Let's just go down memory lane real quick before I open up the hater hotline. So last year, Tampa Bay over Kansas City. Remind me when we had that Super Bowl figured out. Months before the NFL season started, why Tampa Bay would beat Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Boom. Correct. Let's go back to the year before. Kansas City over San Francisco. When did we have it figured out that Kansas City would win the Super Bowl? That's right, before the season began. When ESPN and the Undecided put out the story of the era of the black quarterback is officially underway, and it was all synced up, coded out with Patrick Mahomes and Chiefs and Super Bowl. We said, this is it. This is Mahomes. Let's go to this one, the year before, Super Bowl 53. When did we have New England beating the Rams? I know there's a person out in the world that won over $350,000 off this Super Bowl. When did we have that one figured out? That's right, before the season began. New England over Los Angeles. Patriots 53, Los Angeles 53. 53 the 16th prime, GOAT 16. Ties Jordan with 16 combined points in the Super Bowl. And by the way, the Kansas City San Francisco, in week 3 of that season, I advised putting in a future for Kansas City versus the 49ers, and the reason why was very specific. If you go back and look at week 3, you'll see that the 49ers played the Pittsburgh Steelers. San Francisco equals 50. Pittsburgh equals 50. Shout out to Bobby Simpson, who was the guy who tipped it off in the community. I wouldn't have had it without him. And again, we are a community. Sometimes he'll give me the advice, and then I go, oh, man, look how that all fits together. But the Niners picked up their 229th regular season win on the date 22/9, September 22nd. 229 is the 50th prime number. They picked up their 229th regular season win. It might have been home win. I don't think it was overall I think it was home wins. But whatever it was 229 on 22/9, the 50th prime in the Battle of 50. Chiefs equals 50, who we already had in the Super Bowl. And Super Bowl 54 was the 50th of the modern era. 49ers equals 52. They fell to 5-2 in Super Bowls in that one. And this year's Super Bowl 56, the 52nd of the modern era. And in light of it possibly all being synced up with Pope Francis, read the Gematria Pope. 52 forwards, 56 in reverse. St. Francis of Assisi, Pope Francis. San Francisco named after St. Francis of Assisi like Pope Francis. Joe Burrow, Billy Cannon, dead in St. Francisville on a big Jesuit day. You see? Understand something. In this community, the people that win a lot don't bet a lot. They make smart parlays that pay a lot, And you can do that with this knowledge over and over and over again. But hold on, let's go back, because we weren't done. Super Bowl 52. Anyone remember the Philadelphia-New England Super Bowl? When did we tell you that one was going to happen? Now, we had New England in the Super Bowl as soon as Super Bowl 51 concluded. We said why New England would be in Super Bowl 52. And it was part of the reason was because Brady had 93 offensive plays in Super Bowl 51, and Minneapolis, Minnesota equals 93, and it's on the 93rd Meridian. But it took us until week 3, because I wasn't sure who the NFC team was going to be, so I was trying to figure it out, and then Donald Trump gave it to us. Donald Trump on September 23rd, understand it's all controlled from the Oval Office to the sports games, which it is. Donald Trump on September 23rd, 23/9, like 239, the 52nd prime in the year of Super Bowl 52, he took on the NFL protesters of the flag, and we said, how perfect. He loves the Patriots who got the flag on the side of their helmet. And where was the flag sewn? It was sewn in Philadelphia at 239 Arch Street. And he's going after the flag protesters on 23/9? Super Bowl. Was that the Super Bowl? It sure was. And out of all the years that I've been doing this, I've only got the outcome of the Super Bowl wrong once. And that's a lot of years I've been doing it. We haven't even gone back through everything. I've only gotten the outcome wrong once. And it was that year. But people made a ton of money that year because we had the future right and we killed everything through the playoffs. We had the Eagles starting the year 10-1, which they did. The Eagles upset the Rams that year in a game that paid $650 if you bet $100. That was a money-making season. But I did tell people to hedge with the Eagles. I gave the Eagles a shot, but I favored Brady. And I can tell you exactly why. The reason I said to hedge with the Eagles is because my pick was dead on. I said if the Eagles upset, it's going to be Zach Ertz who scores the winning touchdown. Number 86 would score the touchdown 86 days after his birthday because the national anthem was adopted 86 years before that season. That's exactly what happened. But the reason I favored Brady is because that whole season, watch this. Watch how first of all, Minnesota equals 52, like they hosted Super Bowl 52, but Minneapolis, where the stadium is, R.I.P. Denny Green. They sacrificed Denny Green the day before they opened that stadium. But Minneapolis is 62. That whole year, man, Brady had like a gazillion 62 rituals. He was just going crazy with 62. And he could have become 6-2 in Super Bowls. And one of my apprehensions was, I was like, man, if they win this year, though... Because that was the season that Nick Saban won his 6th championship at age 66 in Georgia, and we knew that the next Super Bowl was going to be in that Georgia stadium. We're like, man, if they don't win it this year, though, then Brady and Belichick could get their 6th Super Bowl while Belichick's 66 in the same stadium that Saban does it, who he used to coach with. And that's exactly what they ended up doing. But all year, they just kept doing all this 62 shit with Brady. So I was like, I got to think he's going to become 6-2 in Super Bowls in Minneapolis. So I favored that narrative, said hedge with the Eagles. Eagles won. And it's okay because we racked up so much dough in that season, it was like tipping the house, Anyway, it wasn't that big a deal. Now, my worst year in all my years of doing this was Super Bowl 51. And it started off good. My very first prediction for Super Bowl 51 was it will either be the Falcons or the Packers out of the NFC because this Super Bowl is on the 44-date numerology, and these are the 44 states, and there's so many 44 connections from Hank Aaron to, and then Hank Aaron ends up dying on a 44-date numerology before the Braves win the World Series. But anyway, that ended up being right because the NFC Championship ended up being the Packers and the Falcons, and the Falcons won with 44 points to advance to the Super Bowl that was on the 44-date numerology. And I guaranteed that the Patriots were going to beat the Falcons in that Super Bowl once it was set because Falcons is 25. That date that the game was, February 5th, could be written 2-5 or 5-2. Brady and Belichick became 5-2 in Super Bowls. The Falcons gave up the 25-point lead. I wish they never deleted my channel. I would just go back. I think I'd go back once a week just to laugh at all the comments in that video. Like, literally, back then, my videos got a ton of views. That video had several 100,000 views, and it had like 20,000 comments, and at least 10,000 of them were telling me how fucking retarded I am during the game because I guaranteed that the Patriots would win the Super Bowl and Brady and Belichick would get to 5-2. Belichick born in 52. It was the 97th season. Bill Belichick, 97 the 25th prime. Falcons would choke. And I knew 25 was going to be a big number in the game, too, which it was. 25-point comeback. But what happened in that season was the running back for the Giants died before the Hall of Fame game. And then I said, oh, man, Giants is 25 like Falcons. And by the way, early in the year when I was saying it was Packers or Falcons, I was leaning a little bit more towards the Falcons because Falcons was 25. And again, the Super Bowl was on 2-5. But then the Giants' former running back died, and I can't even think of his name right now. And he was in a game between the Colts and the Giants. And it was, the ritual was perfect. And I said, man, maybe this is the Super Bowl right here. Maybe it's actually the Colts and the Giants. Well, in week 1, the Colts lost. I think it was one of those games where they had the lead and gave up like a 80-yard touchdown with 30 seconds. And Jimmy Garoppolo, that was the year of Deflategate. Brady was out for the first 4 games. Jimmy Garoppolo was in to start that season on primetime at the Cardinals as a 13-point underdog. And we knew it was Lock City that Jimmy Garoppolo for the Patriots was going to beat the Cardinals. So we got a nice payout that night. But they did some serious numbers in that game, some serious Super Bowl numbers. And I came out that week and I said, I might be wrong about this whole Colts-Giants thing. I said, I see the Super Bowl numbers they just did all over here. And I said, if you got a future in for the Colts and the Giants, I said, hey, you might want to cover with the Patriots, man. And then for like the first 4 weeks of that season, the Patriots were doing these monster riddles. And then they did one in the Texan, or I'm pretty sure it was in the Texan Stadium, which was where Super Bowl 51 was hosted. And I was like, I think I'm wrong about the Colts. I think it's the Patriots. The Colts still had a chance. The narrative was still there, but I got the feeling early in the season I was wrong, and it was probably the Patriots again. But that was our worst year. That was the worst year. And the haters still love to bring up that season and ignore everything else. But remember, the year before that, who told you at the, it was like early in October, I said why Peyton Manning was going to beat the Carolina Panthers in the Huey P. Newton Bowl. And, USA Today wrote their article about me for that one. That was Super Bowl 50, The Black Panthers founded in the Bay Area in San Francisco. Huey P. Newton equals 58. Cam Newton became the 58th quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. And he loses to the White Bronco, like the White Bronco chase with O.J. Simpson. Did you know the day that the White Bronco chase happened in 94? There was a huge record in Seattle with Ken Griffey Jr. And funny enough, in the 94th NFL season, when Seattle-Washington equals 94, the Seattle Seahawks beat the White Broncos. And that was the Up and Smoke Bowl, the year that Washington and Colorado became the first two states to legalize weed. But, again, you guys, all this stuff is a script and a mockery. And there's so much to say about the O.J. Simpson chase and the shit that was done that day in the world. But, Super Bowl 49, I didn't do any futures for football that year, but when the Super Bowl was set, I said, Lock City, Seattle. No-brainer. They won with 43 points. Seattle Seahawks equals 43, And that was the first year that I had the Gematria knowledge in store for that football. So, in terms of picking Super Bowls, right? Seattle over Denver, correct. Oh, New England over Seattle. I skipped that. That was Super Bowl 49. We had New England because what I said before that Super Bowl is I said Brady's getting to 4-2 in this one over Washington, the 42nd state. Seahawks equals 24, and if you use the rule with S, it's 42. So we had Seahawks over Broncos, correct. We had Patriots over Seahawks when the Super Bowl was set. I didn't do futures for these ones. My first correct future call was in October, Denver over the Panthers. And that's a huge call, man. That was a huge Super Bowl. Shout out to all the people that have been here ever since. And that wasn't our first future, right, though. We were already killing futures in baseball and basketball. And, I mean, we've killed all the futures, college and pro, for years. But, again, to sit here and talk shit and wrong, I mean, it's just like, dude, fucking go do whatever and just get the fuck out of here, man. You're talking shit about this record, showing how rigged these games are, how people are getting sacrificed. I mean, all along the way, I've been showing all the people getting sacrificed. But one of the big clues in October for Denver winning the Super Bowl in San Francisco was that one of the stories in October was about a supposed single car accident that shut down the Interstate 5, not far from where the Super Bowl was going to be. Supposedly a guy that crashed his own car. This was how it was reported in the media. And you just know this is a load of shit. This doesn't make any sense. How do you crash your own car, not fly out your front windshield, but they said he flew out the back window. So imagine that. Imagine crashing your car. You'd have to fly through your seat. I don't even know how that's possible. You'd have to fly through your seat, and then you'd have to have enough force to fly out your back window. And they didn't just say that. They said the fucking guy landed on the Colorado Street exit above I-5. And I forget what the exit number was, but it fit in, and I said, come on, man, this story doesn't make any sense, but I'm telling you, this is what they do. They do these news stories, and they sync them up with sports. That was our first big clue about Colorado winning Super Bowl 50, that story. And then I started doing some more research, and I was like, wait a minute. All this race war shit with the news, all this stuff they're doing in the NFL season, what could be more racially symbolic than Cam Newton, like the Black Panther? And again, if you guys don't know this, Huey P. Newton equals 131. Cam Newton's born on the 131st day of 1989. Huey P. Newton died on the day leaving 131 days in 1989. Huey P. Newton, the small way, is 58, like how he became the 58th quarterback to start in the Super Bowl. Oakland's 58, where the Black Panther Party was founded in the Bay Area. But, and by the way, that Super Bowl is on the 38th day of the year. It was the golden anniversary hosted by the 49ers. Gold equals 38. You gotta love how the Niners kicker these days is named Robbie Gold. But the Panthers, they also lost in Super Bowl 38 to Brady. Panthers is 38. But, and again, I mean, we're just talking about pro football. We can go through all the futures and all the sports. But then we'll be here all fucking night, man. We'll have to spend the whole weekend. You guys will miss the games tomorrow. So let's just open up the hater hotline. All the sorry-ass pieces of shit that just hang around and talk shit all day, tell me about how bad today was. I want you to explain how it's a losing day based on the advice I gave, because I know exactly what I fucking said. I know what was wrong. I know all the things that were right. A lot more right than wrong, and if you bet on all that shit, you definitely won. Last weekend, another winning weekend. By the way, we're not doing nearly as well in the playoffs this year as we did last year. Last year, we were perfect and murdered everything. This year's tougher, but we're still winning. We won last week. We win this week. So, haters. And again, when you call in, I want to know why you were just so dead silent on another perfect future call in college football. Because I know I said before week 2, it looked like Georgia was going to beat Alabama. And then after week 2 happened, we said, this is definitely the championship. I just want to know. I want to know. Why do you guys sit around here and hate and talk shit and never mention anything right and just bring up all this? I mean, not only am I showing you how the games are rigged, I'm showing you who's doing it, who's getting murdered, whose fucking side are you on? I want to know. Do you guys like getting raped? Are you guys into Waynel Sexton? Is that what it is? Am I ruining the mood of it? Do you like watching your games and getting raped emotionally? Is that why? Am I ruining the emotional rape? Do you like that? Are you into some people are into being abused, right? Like maybe all of my haters are guys that like being abused. Maybe you like being anally raped, So I'm going to open up the hotline here, but I just want to know what the fuck's wrong with you. What the fuck is wrong with you? Because I know how good my legacy and record is. Primo. You never seen anything like this in the world. Tell me about it. Are you mad because I'm ruining the intimacy of your rapings? What is it? Let's go out to 937 Hater Hotline. First up.
Hey, just had a quick question. Can I actually call being a supporter real quick, or do I?
Okay, fine. We can maybe that'll warm up the haters. I would like the haters to call in, but what's up, man?
I appreciate it. I've been rocking with you since that Super Bowl 50, so I know the haters can kiss your ass. Firstly, secondly, I'm actually currently, even though it says 937, living in the Cincinnati area, so all the stuff that's been going on in real time I've seen, and I wanted to say to you a few things. The first thing is that the first Super Bowl I realized that John Madden did, as far as a commentator, was the Super Bowl 16, which was the 49ers and Bengals in history. And, of course, they faced each other, like 5-6 years later? I forget the year, I guess, the Super Bowl 23 Super Bowl. But I found that interesting. Also, I found it interesting that when the Bengals with Burrow, if you remember, I think you even did a story about it back in the day. There was a big shooting at a bank in Cincinnati.
Oh yeah, it was like, what do they call it? The Fifth Thirds Bank or something?
Yes. So I live about 10 miles from downtown, and that's literally in the heart of the city. Like,
oh, hey, you bringing that up? Something I forgot to say tonight is that Cincinnati is big Jesuit town because Xavier's there, one of their major Jesuit programs. San Francisco is also a major Jesuit town. There's only 27 Jesuit universities in the nation, but one is in Cincy and one is in the Bay Area, Santa Clara, which is actually where the Niners Stadium is. And the other thing I think I forgot to mention tonight, just for a quick recap, is, again, sexual abuse lawsuit in Minnesota for $22.5 million in the news the day after George Floyd's dead on his 225th day of his age. Derek Chauvin gets 22.5 years in prison to go with that $22.5 million. And again, Waynel Sexton, and it's the full name of the Knights Templar that equals 225. So again, and the Templars and the Jesuits all serve the Catholic Church. But anyway, go ahead. You're reminding me of memory lane.
I'm glad I can do that. Also, if you look back at that shooting, and I actually did right before calling you, because I remember, so Joe Burrow, I believe that week started in LSU. This is in 2018. This was when his first year starting there. That same week, which I know Cincinnati in Gematria equals 96, that shooting happened on September 6th. And they say, which is interesting, looking at it in hindsight, they say that shooting happened at 9, 10 in the morning, and there's been a big thing in Cincinnati about Burrow and Chase, wearing 9 and 1. So I found that very interesting too. Like, these guys were at LSU together. Then fast forward 3 years later, they're here together in Cincinnati doing what they're doing. And then not the Super Bowl. So if you go from the game that they played each other, the Bengals and 49ers, this is, of course, for future reference, to the Super Bowl, it would be exactly 9 weeks if they play each other. Because that game happened, I believe, December 12th of this season, where the 49ers won 26-23. And it's funny because, of course, that the final score is 49 points, and it ended on a Robbie Gould field goal. So,
if you're right about all this being tied in, which is all interesting, I got to think about all this. But again, Los Angeles is 53, and if the Niners went to the Super Bowl and lost in Los Angeles, they would fall to 5-3. And Joe could make the Bengals 1-2 in Super Bowls, and Joe equals 12. So,
it's a big thing, of course. Like depending on where you're at and what's a new station, especially locally. They talk about Joe Burrow being Joe Cool, and there's a thing on Peacock. I don't know if you've seen it, where Joe Montana is talking about, basically back in the day, and it's like Joe Under Pressure, Joe Cool, or something like that. And I'm like, that's interesting that you would have that in Joe Cool. And even though it may have another thing about Joe, even though it may have no reference, I find it interesting that he's from Athens, not Georgia, Athens, Ohio. And there's been a big thing about, how many commercials you watch where they talk about the sports betting with, what's the guy, Caesar or whatever. And I'm like, it's funny that they're pushing like Athens, Greece. I'm like, they're pushing this whole thing. And Joe Burrow's just kind of, not that he hasn't obviously been a guy, but now it's like, oh, well, here's Joe Burrow. And being a guy who's, lived in the Southwest Ohio area his whole life, I just find it interesting. Like, the Bengals have never really got a push like this. But then I realized that Zach Taylor his wife is the old Green Bay head coach, I think Mike Sherman or something like that, is his daughter. And as you say, all roads lead to Rome. They definitely do. I'm like, how many of these guys or girls are either born into it or marry somebody into it? You know what I mean? It's just insanity. And I knew that the Bengals, I told somebody this. I told them they will owe me a dinner. I said, if the Bengals win 2 games in a row, they're like, there's no way that they're going to do that. And I said, in 91, of course, it was reverse order. They played the Oilers and then the Raiders. And then I was like, well, they played a reverse order. And I said, it just makes sense, right? And if you look, if Buffalo wins tomorrow, the last time that they went this far as the Bengals beat Buffalo in the AFC Championship.
In 89, before they played the 49ers. That's possible. Something else to think about is with this whole Billy Cannon thing. Billy Cannon played for the Houston Oilers and the Kansas City Chiefs. So
that is very interesting. Well, one more thing I wanted to mention to you that you talked about that I realized is like the Titans had a lot of really good numbers as far as for their team-wise compared to obviously Joe Burrow having certain ones. But I know you talk about a lot of times teams, just for people betting, which these idiots should figure out, like sometimes things look so good that these teams fall on their number. And I told my brother that, if he's listening, he may be. I sent him the link that, I said the Titans look so good. They have, a lot of numbers, and Derrick Henry's coming back. And it almost made me too leery, right? Like, it just looked too good that the Titans were going to win with Henry back and all that. And then you could just tell, though, Tannehill looked like a guy. I mean, they're all doing their job, but you know what I mean? He just looked like, I'm just out there, and here you go. And Aaron Rodgers, I will say this, I've said this to you every year, that when he loses over the phone, that he's one of those guys, he doesn't take the losses good. Like, you can tell when he's going to lose. I mean, hell, he just walked off the field like...
His acting got way better. His acting's good at State Farm, but it's always been really bad in the NFL, but it got better. Because I was talking about it today with Big Al during the game. I said Aaron Rodgers isn't giving it away with his face before the game like he normally does. But I think he's been talked to. So, because in years past, you could always see Aaron Rodgers' face when he came out the tunnel if he knew he was going to lose. But today he did a better job. He had his poker face on today. So.
Yeah, the San Francisco thing a few years ago, definitely, that was like one of the worst ones. And I will say, I don't know if you've seen the whole thing where before the game, which actually made me think the 49ers were definitely going to win, he was talking about Joe Biden or something, or yesterday, and talking about the vaccine and all this stuff. And I'm like, how does the NFL, who, want you to do a certain thing, how are they going to let this man be a spokesman at the Super Bowl talking about non-vaccinated?
That's what I was saying too. It's just like if you recall, week 1 of this NFL season, there were 4 public stories about 4 NFL QBs being unvaccinated, and they all lost in week 1. And meanwhile, Captain Tom Brady, him and the Bucs were the first team to get all the way vaccinated. And again, we just see the narratives. They're trying to sell the dummy population with like, see, the guys that play by the rules, life works out good for them. But anyway, man, I appreciate the call and the support, and we'll see if we can get some haters in here. So appreciate it, man.
I appreciate it, brother.
Yeah. All right, take care. Yeah, and again, that's the thing. When you become a veteran at this, good numbers isn't everything. You got to know the narratives that are going on, the storylines. Like, there's a guy that was ready to bet his whole house on the Titans winning or going to the Super Bowl, and I was telling him, I was like, yeah, the numbers are there, but I just don't know if I see Ryan Tannehill in the Super Bowl, and you got some better storylines here. And he learned the hard way today because he wanted to bet $1 million that the Titans were going to the Super Bowl. 775.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, what's up?
Why do you have such a punchable face?
So that's the best you trolls can do. I know you're the kind of same guy that hangs out here all day and talks shit. Why is that the best you can do?
Just listen. If I were to see you in public, I would beat the shit out of you.
You would? So you're an anonymous, faceless guy who calls in on the phone, who nobody knows who they are, and talks a big game. Why don't you go on Free to Find Truth and post a picture of your face so I know you when I see you on the street?
Why don't you fucking lie to all your followers?
What am I lying about? What am I lying about? Tell me what I'm lying about.
Oh, yeah, you have all the fucking...
What am I lying about?
You're always right. You never fucking lose.
Did I say I was right about everything today? Did I say I was right about everything today? No, I didn't lie about anything. Okay, here, hold on. I want you to tell me this is a lie. I just said the one thing that was wrong today is I did favor the Titans over the Bengals, but I told people to hedge with the Bengals and put in a parlay for Bengals and Niners because the narrative was there. I said to take a Derrick Henry prop bet on the touchdown, and I said if the Bengals upset, then definitely take the Niners in the next game. So where's that losing advice? Tell me.
One thing you got right today. What did you get right today?
This is what you trolls are. You don't acknowledge the truth, and you just say I'm a liar and keep talking shit. I just told you everything I got right.
What was the last thing you got right, pussy?
Pussy. What's the last thing you got right, pussy? Calling in.
You're quiet now.
No, I'm laughing at what a fucking joke you guys are. Listen here, Needle Dick. Listen here, Needle Dick. Faceless Needle Dick with no life that trolls the page every day and talks shit. Understand something, sorry-ass motherfucker. Understand something. Understand, sorry-ass motherfucking Needle Dick. You don't have a life. You cannot respond to the facts, and you just keep talking shit. Oh, I'm a big tough guy, but we're calling anonymously on the phone. Shut the fuck up, faggot. Listen to these fucking faggots. All of my haters are fucking dick-sucking faggots. Guarantee every last one of them. That's all they could do. Talk shit and not acknowledge the facts. Fucking faggots. All right, let's go out. Next caller. 443. 443. Is this the next troll attempt? Just sit there in silence. 443. You're wrong.
No, I'm not. I'm not trying to troll you. I've been watching you for like 3 years. I didn't know my phone was connected. Sorry. Watching you for like 3 years. I was just wondering who you think was going to win next week.
Well, we put out the picks on Patreon. I don't know what you guys haven't caught up with yet. We do the picks on Patreon. Sign up, buddy. Okay. 512.
Hey, Zach, I'm a new caller, man.
What's up? New caller and then he just hangs up? All right, no caller ID. Let's see. Hater hotline. Let's see if these haters can do better. Can't just talk shit and ignore the facts. That's not doing anything. No caller ID.
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yeah, what's up?
All right. I respect what you do and everything, but you know, your calls, your sports calls aren't that great, to be honest.
Okay, defend your point. They're not that great. Tell me who's ever done better. Who's ever hit more futures, more specific, dead-on scores? Tell me.
So at the beginning of the year, you had the Cowboys and Chiefs. You had the black QB narrative.
Okay, hold on. We had two very probable Super Bowl narratives. One is still very much alive.
So what's with the black QB narrative with the 400 years after slavery and ESPN?
Well, that understanding that did very well for us in Super Bowl 54 and having Mahomes versus Brady in Super Bowl 55. So that's helped us out 2 years in a row with winners from before the season began. So if you're going to be like, well, you're not very good, and what happened to that? Well, it helped us win on the last two Super Bowls before the season even began, and it could help us win again this year because our narrative, for all of you guys who are saying I had the Cowboys to win, understand I never said the Cowboys would win the Super Bowl. I thought they might be there against the Chiefs, but I never had them as the winner. Never had them as the winner. So,
you flip-flop
how do I flip-flop?
So, I haven't watched your recent, but it's hard to see whenever you go on live. You don't make a definitive pick. You give, sides for both teams.
Do I not always say which narrative I like more? Tell me something. Did you watch today's stream? Because I know exactly the advice I gave, and if you took the advice I gave, you won on the majority of your bets again.
I haven't watched in a while.
Then adios, buddy. Again, listen to these clowns. I haven't watched in a while. I'm only going to bring up the thing that's wrong and not talk about the other thing that's still alive. I mean, these people are... Listen to them. They sound like limp dick fucking faggots. Let's just be honest about my trolls and critics. These guys are fucking losers. See, I get out here and I put my face and my name on the line and my reputation. And for 5 years, I did it for free and killed it. It's a damn shame that Google had to censor me. Otherwise, you'd be able to look back and see the track record. Sorry-ass losers like this talking shit in the comments getting proven wrong and wrong and wrong again. Okay? Let's hear somebody call in and actually make a point. We know it can't happen, but let's just hear somebody try. Okay. 765?
Hi, Zach. I apologize that I was so fixated on the Titans. I accept that the numbers don't matter. So maybe I think I need to tune into more of the TV and mainstream stuff which is going on, because I feel that is actually the thing. The narrative is what matters. So I'm not going to make any predictions or anything. I'm just calling to accept that I made a mistake by making the Titans, but I had the 49ers before the Titans game as well. So the 49ers riddle was much more clear, I felt. So I apologize again, Zach. So I understand your work. I've been seeing you for 5 years.
Remember how our stream ended today? I said, you remind me of the two Indian guys on the corner in Seattle who thought they knew it all. Remember?
See, it's not about I'm saying I know it all. See,
no, that is how you were acting earlier. Listen, I accept your apology, but you were, because look at your comments in the chat. Hold on. See, I don't like the sad puppy dog voice apology, because we have to go back. We have to rewind the clock.
It's not.
All right, I'm going to hang up.
Okay?
Okay. He can call in and apologize, but the thing is, he was talking shit to everybody, guaranteeing that those Titans were in the Super Bowl, and writing LOL at other teams that could possibly win. So, I'm not that interested in it. I said, how old are you? Your comments remind me of a really immature person. You remind me of these two other Indian guys that thought they knew it all but didn't know jack shit. What's up, 561?
Hey, Zach, I just wanted to say congratulations on these games. I've been kind of killing it and doing a little bit of NBA on my own with rotation numbers. But I wanted to point something out on Google. It says on the NFL, the NFL was founded September 17th, 1920, 101 years ago. I just wanted to point out, thinking that maybe your Cowboys prediction was 1 year too early.
No, the Cowboys are a doomed franchise. The only reason we like the Cowboys this year is because initially the Super Bowl was scheduled for February 6th, 56 days from WrestleMania in Dallas, and WrestleMania has never done us wrong before this season. So, again, for all the haters out there, understand, we go with patterns that have been winners. Sometimes they burn us, but we've already won a lot on knowing this. So, they burned us with WrestleMania this year, but it's not the end of the world.
Yeah. Okay. I just wanted to point that out. And maybe you want to look into something with rotation numbers. What I started doing is, because if you're a better and you make a bet, it literally would put the rotation number. Like, let's say, for example,
you were about to say something about that. You cut out. You're about to say something about the rotation number, and then you cut out.
Yeah. So about rotation numbers, when you bet, they have it as like 5-3-7 Los Angeles Clippers. So I decided to put like 5-6, 5-3-7 Los Angeles, 5-3-7 Los Angeles Clippers, 5-3-7 Clippers. And what I pointed out is that on one of the ciphers equaled 61, and the Clippers yesterday got their 61st all-time win. It's the 61st all-time win versus Philadelphia, and that thing hit. I don't know if you want to look into that again, but just something to point out.
Okay, yeah, 61 in Philly. Big pattern.
Yeah.
So, all right, man, appreciate it.
Not a problem. Have a great night.
And there you hear it. People that are learning the knowledge, using their own mind, and winning from it, like a lot of people do in this community. All of you guys out there who sit there and talk shit, realize what you guys are. You guys are fucking losers. You can't win with winning knowledge. I mean, that's who you guys are. You guys are a fucking joke. Take a look in the mirror and say, I'm a fucking joke. Let's see if we got another hater for the hater hotline. 619. Oh, hung up. Uh-oh. Must have lost. His, must have got cold feet there. Let's see. 607.
Yo, not a hater here. How do you like the Bengals getting to 1-7 all time in the playoffs versus number 17 Ryan Tannehill?
Is that what happened? Because I saw that they were 0-8 on the road. I think you mean their road record. I think they got to 1-8 today.
Yeah, 0-7. The Bengals were 0-7 on the road all time in the playoffs. On the road. And they got to 1-7 today in the playoffs.
The stat I saw said they were 0-8 on the road before today. I think it was their 9th road playoff game. So.
No, I know for a fact that he got to 1-7. Like the Bengals got to 1-7 today, all time.
Let's see. StatMuse must have the wrong records then for their for the all-time. Let's see. Bengals all-time road playoff record. I saw it as 0-8 before the game. Let's see. Yeah, they got him at 1-8 now all-time on the road. So.
Well, I don't think that's right. But
well, it makes sense if it is, because Sun equals 54 and 18. IHS is 18. Jesuit order is 54. It's all Jesuits all the way. So if it's 1-7, it could make sense. First, against number 17, Tannehill. First year with 17 regular season games, but StatMuse has them at 0-8 in the playoffs. And if it was 0-8, this was their 9th road playoff game, and number 9 gets them the first win. So.
And I know how you talk about how 66 in Cincinnati is a good number.
Yeah.
And last week, Cincinnati got to 6-6 at home all time in the playoffs.
Right.
And
that's why we like that one a lot.
Yeah, and today the game was 6-0.
Then 6-6, right?
The Titans
and then 9-6.
They scored, and it made no sense to go for 2.
It did it. No, it's a joke. It's a joke.
It made absolutely no sense to go for 2. But
yeah, exactly. Okay, look, they got a penalty, so they got backed up 5 yards. Why are you going to go for 2 now that you're 5 yards further away from the end zone?
It made no sense. Like, the only
Well, it does when you know Gematria, right? It's like, okay, Cincinnati 66, and then the score's 9-6, and at the beginning of the day, Cincinnati 51, and Regina King's son's dead right after her 51st birthday on the day Bengals get their first ever road playoff win. So.
And Joe Burrow was sacked 51 times this season. That led the league, and the commentators made sure to let you know that Joe Burrow got sacked 5 times in the first half, like 5-1.
I heard he got sacked 9 times today.
He got sacked 9 times today, but he got sacked 5 times in the first half, and that was the
5 and 4,
like on NFL.com.
5 and 4,
like 5-1.
Well, 5 and then 4 in the second half, and yeah, there's the stat. Joe Burrow sacked 51 times today in the regular season, and Cincinnati 51 in the most pure. I mean, it just shows you how scripted the season is. So.
And the only reason why, like, Gematria, like, to get that 6-6 on the board, that's the only logical reason that you would go for 2 in that situation, to make sure that, like, the Gematria lines up so that you get that.
And they do this stuff week after week. So often when you see these coaches decide to go for 2 at the beginning of the game when it makes no sense. Well, if you know Gematria or the date numerology, you're just laughing. You're like, look how stupid this is, man. Just buy the numbers. So.
All right, you see how you know how Cincinnati Bengals is 75 in the most pure cipher?
Right.
Well, so isn't Joe Burrow's full name. Joseph Lee Burrow equals 75 also in the most pure cipher. And
makes sense.
You notice how the 49ers are wearing the 75 Joseph
patch.
Lee Burrow's 75. But you see how the 49ers have wearing the 75 patch on their jersey all season?
Oh, Joseph Lee Burrow is also 213 like the date of the Super Bowl. Whoa. Interesting.
Exactly. Yeah. But here, San Francisco has been wearing a 75 patch on their jersey all season.
Right.
And I just happened to look it up, like, and why they're doing that. And a CBS article tells me that San Francisco wore these jerseys for the NFL's 75th anniversary season in 1994 when they defeated the San Diego Chargers in Super Bowl.
With 49 points.
XXIX.
Yeah, with
and
49
they won
points.
That 49 to 26, 75 total points.
Yeah.
75 total points.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Indeed.
And, so, dude, I'm looking at this Bengals 49ers narrative, and it's like you have China Joe, the China virus. You have Year the Tiger, and it's the Chinese zodiac, what we're talking about, like the tiger.
Right.
Like, it's just making so much sense.
Yeah, the Super Bowl will be the first NFL game in the Year of the Tiger, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But just that they're wearing 75 on their jersey.
You know what's funny? If it does end up doing this, Tiger Woods definitely factors in, because wasn't Tiger Woods' car accident in L.A. on the 54th day of the year, February 23rd, and Tiger Woods is 54 forwards and backwards, all this 54 shit. So, the whole world of sports, all scripted. All bullshit.
It's ridiculous. So that's why you can't have. I think it's stupid to have haters call in because there's no good argument you can make against.
Well, that's why I want to see one of them try to make. But I just want people to understand that the pack of losers that hang around here and harass the community, that's just all they are. They're fucking losers, just talking shit. I just explained the thing to the guy, and the guy's like, "Tell me one thing you got right." It's like, what the fuck, retard? I just told you all the things we got right today.
Like, talk about the baseball season when you said 66 and Cincinnati hit just left and right.
Well, not to mention baseball season. I put out 4 teams to win the World Series before the season began. One of them was the Braves and the Hank Aaron ritual. Had you taken that, the Braves paid a lot at the beginning of the year. Had you put $100 down on each of those, you would have been way ahead. I mean, we've killed future. Even though this past year has been my worst year of futures in a while, we've still done way better than anybody else. So.
Exactly, man. Yep.
Anyway.
And just to fill it up, yeah. Haters have no room to talk at all.
Yeah. Hey, appreciate all the observations. Joseph Lee Burrow, 213. That's another one to make you go, that is really damn interesting. So, appreciate it, man.
Yeah, have a good one,
all right,
man.
Take care. All right, let's see. Do we got a hater? 925.
No, definitely not a hater.
All right, what's up?
All right, so I called in to the live stream last Saturday with this narrative about the Bengals and Niners.
Oh yeah, I know. You're Mr. Bay Area. You're the guy who called in years ago, right, about Orange Friday and the Giants.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I know your voice. Yeah, what's up, man?
Sir. Yeah, so I got a lot of notes on this matchup. So the first key thing I want to talk about here is the last week of the season when the Niners upset the Rams in L.A. Jimmy Garoppolo had missed a game because of the fake thumb injury, and his record was 8-6 as a starter, and he won that game. He was 9-6 as a starter after winning that. So that's like the 96 number for Cincinnati, right?
Right.
Well, guess how many points were scored in a total combined score in that game?
Tell me.
51.
It wasn't 54, was it? How many was it?
51.
51, like Cincinnati. You know, if Jimmy makes it to the Super Bowl, it's going to be his 54th game of his career.
All right, now check this out. Super Bowl 54. What was the total score of that game?
31-20, wasn't it? 51 points?
Exactly. All right, now here's the kicker. Here's what I like the most about this is Joe Burrow started his career 2-5-1, and in that game he played the Tennessee Titans. Right? Tennessee Titans is 54. 251 is the 54th prime. Guess how many the total point score in that game was?
It was 51?
Points.
51, huh? Okay.
51 points. So all this stuff is lining up. I've been breaking this thing down for like about a month now because, you're talking about Joe Burrow, how they've been comparing him to Joe Montana.
All year we've been talking about we've been talking about it since he came in the league. Joe Montana, Joe Burrow. They just keep doing these rituals.
All year. And all the records that he broke and all this stuff and LSU. Well, from Joe Montana's birthday of last year, 2021, to the game today was 77 days. What number equals 77?
Green Bay?
It's the Packers. It's the Packers number, right?
All right.
And then it also James Richard Garoppolo. Okay? So along with that, you think about Joe.
When Jimmy Garoppolo went to the 49ers, it was a big 77 ritual. I got to go back and find my old notes on that. Jimmy Garoppolo went to the Niners in a big 77 ritual.
Yeah, so if you type in Jimmy G, it equals 77. Jimmy Garoppolo is 77. All right, so here's the other thing. Today, 122, that's George Seifert's birthday. Okay?
Isn't that so perfect? And for people who don't know, Seifert went from the Niners to the Panthers, and look at what the college is in Charlotte there. They're the Charlotte 49ers. But anyway.
Yeah, the Charlotte 49ers.
And then that's part of the reason the Panthers were in the 49ers Super Bowl, where they lost to Peyton Manning and the Broncos.
Yeah, so I got an even better one for you. Here we go. Okay, so George Seifert right now is 81 years old. Okay, so from Jimmy Garoppolo's birthday, 11-2, to today is 81 days. And the Packers fell to 8-1 on the season.
I see.
Okay.
George Seifert turned 82 today, though. He turned 82 today.
Exactly. So up to this point, he was 81, right? So during the game, I've seen them flash a key stat. Whenever you see them flash a key stat, if you got live betting capabilities or something like that, you need to hammer the bets, okay? So what they showed was the Packers had 8 first downs and the 49ers had 0 first downs. Well, the 49ers stopped the Packers. They got the ball back, and guess what happened? The Niners got their first down, so it was 8-1 on first downs. It's just there's no way that this shit is not scripted. So anyone who thinks that this is not scripted by Gematria and that the Jesuits don't run this shit, they're just crazy and they're in denial about this whole thing.
You gotta be fucking dumb to not see that the Jesuits run it. The thing I just showed about Billy Cannon on the anniversary of Ignatius Loyola getting hit by a cannon, I mean, this shit is not an accident.
Yep. Bingo. All right, so one last key point I want to start with here is Jimmy G started his career 17-4 as a starter. Super Bowl LVI equals 174. There's only one team in the entire league that equals 174.
Cincinnati.
And that's Cincinnati.
Yeah.
All right. Now, Cincinnati Bengals in the most pure cipher we all know is 75. This year, the 49ers are honoring their 75th anniversary with the 75 patch.
Bill Walsh, who was the first coach to beat the Bengals in the Super Bowl in 81 and 82 season, okay, he died at 75 years old. From his birthday, 11/30, to the first game last week against the Dallas Cowboys was 75 days.
Huh. Amazing.
Actually, no, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. I am mistaken. That was Jimmy G's birthday. Okay, so Jimmy G's birthday to that game last week was 75 days.
It was also his 76th day of his age. Remember, we talked about that because that's why I said you want to hedge with the Cowboys probably, especially if you got your future riding on the or hedge with the Niners because remember the Cowboys fell to 7-6 in the wild card on Jimmy G's 76th day of his age. So
I think this whole thing has to do with 75 because it's the 75th anniversary. Okay, now in the 75th NFL season, the Niners won the Super Bowl.
Right.
Against the Chargers with a
75 points.
75 points.
Right.
All right, so.
And this year, for people, this year the Chargers and Rams host the Super Bowl, so it's in their stadium.
Yeah, so in the beginning of the season, back in August, I put a future in for the Chargers and Niners, which was kind of a super long shot. That one didn't pan out, obviously, but I was on to something, and I knew something was up with this 75 because the connection with 75, and that year in 94, 95 is when they won the Super Bowl with 75 points combined. So, from Bill Walsh's birthday, 11/30, to the Super Bowl is 75 days. Okay? So, there's all these connections with 75. They're wearing the 75 patch. The Bengals, okay, equals 75. So I was looking into that. Well, the Chargers beat the Bengals the week before they played the 49ers, okay? And their record was 7-5. So that starts tying in with the whole 54 connection with the Super Bowl 54. And from that game to the Super Bowl, from 12-4, let me put that in here.
Oh, yeah, and something I forgot to bring up is it is also the 49ers' 76th season, so that 76 has been big with them.
Yeah, so from 12/12, the date of that game, to the Super Bowl, if you count the last day, including the end date, it's 64 days. And we all know what the magic 64 number goes for, right?
Well, what's your thought in this regard? I mean, often that time that number comes up with the Chiefs. Where are you going with the 64?
Well, you just hit it on the head. Chiefs, right? 54, Super Bowl 54, they played the Chiefs. 49ers in 64. Remember when we predicted the Super Bowl, it was the Chiefs and the Niners, and the way we predicted it was because of Joe Montana. What age was he at?
Was he 64 then?
He was 64, and Joseph Burrow is 64. So
Did you know that Frank Gore's the all-time leading rusher for the Niners with 64 touchdowns?
Oh, yeah, of course I do. Before Gematria, I was a huge football fan, but now I can't even watch the games because it's just so fucking ridiculous. You know? Just breaking down, like today, like the caller said earlier, the score in the game, the Titans and Bengals was tied 6-6, 66. And then they get the field goal. It's 9-6, 96. It's like, so right then and there, I'm just like, oh my God. It's like, I can't even watch this shit, because people who don't understand Gematria and don't know if this shit's rigged, they're blind. They're stupid. So anyways, I got a lot of notes on this stuff. Maybe I'll email you what I got. But
here, let me let the next person get in. But great work, yeah, a lot of great observations. Appreciate it, man. Keep it up. See you.
All right.
503.
Hey, Zach.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I don't have anything big. Honestly, I was watching the live stream. You already hit on my point, but I just wanted to say I bet on the Titans today, and I could tell watching the pregame thing that the Titans were going to lose because what you said about, like, the players' faces, I could tell looking at Derrick Henry and Ryan Tannehill, I'm like, fuck, they're going to lose. And also, like, Joe Burrow and everyone, they look really happy on the other side. So, yeah, just want to say you got to pay attention to the pregame show. That's a big giveaway. I know it was last year, and Aaron Rodgers is wearing his poker face, but not everyone is. But appreciate the work and keep killing it.
All right, man. Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, see you.
Yeah, sometimes, I mean, these guys really do come out and look like they saw the script and they're like, fuck, why is this our script today? So, Aaron Rodgers definitely stepped his acting game up. He used to always have the biggest giveaway face. Like, No poker face at all. But today he did a better job. He was a tough read today. Let's see. 732? You're on.
Definitely stepped his game up.
You got to mute the video. You got to mute the video. It's on delay. Just talk to me through the phone.
Oh, what's up?
Yeah, what's up?
Oh, listen, I had a question. So, I tweeted you because after you posted that video with Larry Johnson, I started following him on Twitter, and he was like exposing everything like all over like every single day, and then he hasn't been there since like January, February, March, April.
Yeah, he just shut it down. I'm not sure what happened with that.
Oh, I thought something happened to him, and I also have a question.
I hope nothing happened to him. I hope nothing happened to him, but yeah, he hasn't been. He was super active for a long time, and he hasn't done anything for a while. You could tell he was. He could tell he was mad at the world, though. He just like, yeah, I mean, so he might have just quit, but.
So I wanted to know about like the Gematria things, like that you think like they follow, because like I was like I first like subscribed to you like last year, and I was really confused. Like I'm saying, like why do they like follow so many like numbers and rituals? Is it to like win money through bets, like themselves?
It's because the secret societies that created these leagues, their quote is all is number. All is number from Pythagoras. It's all about numbers. It's Kabbalah. It's just like the woman who's dead, or the kid who's dead, the woman whose son supposedly committed suicide. That's the news today. Who's from Cincinnati? They got their Kabbalah matching tattoos on their body. That was part of the story today. I mean, they're giving you hints about what's going on in the world.
Word. Actually, yeah, I was just confused about it because like I've been like different conspiracies like for like celebrities and all that stuff, and like you just got me into this stuff. But like I'm pretty confused about it, but I'm gonna try to get into it.
All right.
And
Yeah.
I was also questioning like.
Here's what you should do. Go to my other YouTube channel, GematriaEffectNews 24, and just open up any of the recent videos and look in the description. You can download the ebooks for free and just read the beginning chapters of them, because I teach Gematria in the beginning chapters of those books. You don't have to read the whole book, but just read the beginning parts where I teach Gematria.
All right, cool, thanks.
Yeah. All right, man.
Thank you. God bless. Have a good night.
Yeah, have a good one. 702.
I ain't here to talk talk shit, Zach. I feel defeated.
How come?
The damn Packers. I've been talking about 44, man.
I told you, man. I told you if the Bengals win that first game, you better take the 49ers in the next game.
Oh, Zach, you check this out, Zach. The writing was on the wall. There are some stats you missed out on, Zach. Check this out.
Okay.
Rodgers today became 11-11 all-time in the divisional.
On the 11-date numerology. Wait, he couldn't have. You mean the Packers did? The Packers did?
Well, maybe the Packers. My bad. The Packers. He hasn't played for it. The Packers became 11-11 today, all-time in the divisional round. Rodgers had became 6-5 in the divisional round all time because he was 6-4 in the divisional round.
Okay.
Today's a 65-day numerology.
Okay.
He picked up his 22nd all-time home loss. And then Zach, look what they.
He got that 76 loss. I mean, that was a big point of emphasis today. Last week was about 76. It's the Niners' 76 season. He could get his 76 overall loss, and he did.
Zach, they put it right in your face before they blocked the field goal because they called the penalty on number 76, and number 76 name is John Runyon, and John Runyon his dad used to play for the Tennessee Titans.
I see.
And literally 2 plays later, the punt gets blocked in the San Francisco touchdown.
It's funny how they mock everybody, man. They got this shit so scripted.
And then you see Jimmy Garoppolo throws 19 passes, and he has 131 passing yards.
And 19's their best player on offense. Okay.
And the 19 with the 40, Joe Montana 19.
Right.
With the Kansas City.
After the Bengals just won 19. Right.
19 is 19 is the big number tomorrow with the Kansas City and Buffalo game because we're looking for the 19. Either Josh Allen's going to pick up 19 or the Bills are going to lose the 19, and you got Andy Reid's going to pick up his 19th all-time win. All-time playoff win.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So it's just like, But Brady is going down tomorrow, man. I'm telling you, he's going down.
We'll see.
Too,
We'll see.
You know Bob Saget died at the age of 65, and today Rodgers becomes 6-5 in the divisional round against the
San
49ers.
Francisco 49ers, 65.
Yeah, and don't forget what you said today. Remember, Bob Saget died in Florida.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you got the 49ers who might be playing against the Buccaneers.
That's why I don't know if the Bucs are going down tomorrow. Brady's from the Bay Area. That would bring together Brady versus, what happened in that Sharks game today? What happened in that Sharks game today?
The Lightning. Last time I checked, they're up 5-1.
They're destroying them 7-1. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Just know there's a lot of things. Somebody just texted me. Just know, Zach, she says she's hearing me right now on the show. There's a lot of things that's going against Tom tomorrow, even the Catholic numbers. So if they want...
Again, don't get so much caught up in the numbers. There's plenty there for Tom tomorrow in the numbers. Remember, it's just like I told the guy who was big on the Titans. I said, sometimes you got to look at these narratives, though. And that's why I said, if the Bengals upset, you better be on the Niners to upset as well. So...
I told that to everybody in the live. I said, Zach is the GOAT. Right before the Packers game, I said, you guys better bet on the Bengals. I mean, not the Bengals, the 49ers, because now you just see the Bengals just won.
And it's the damn anniversary of them playing in Super Bowl 23. And look, I mean, they just put it in your face. 23 points in the Niners game. The thing last week, 40 points in the game. All game, they're showing you the catch 40 years ago. I mean, they really hammer the numbers home, man. I don't get you guys who call in and are like, I still don't get it. It's confusing. What's with the number thing, man? Just would you guys take a minute to read the books and shit I've written down so people can understand why they do this? I explain it in the opening pages of both books I've written. Anyway, man, better luck tomorrow.
Yep. All right, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, take care. 425.
Hey, Zach.
What's up?
Hey, sorry, just calling in. Are you still live?
I'm live.
Oh, sorry. Yeah. I just had a bunch of observations. I noticed everybody's on this San Fran and Bengals storyline. I wanted to point out, and something that you pointed out with the 500 year of the anniversary of the Ignatian year, I was looking for a team where, a cannonball could strike and knock the sword down. So I'm looking at Tennessee and I'm looking at the Sabres. And I noticed in hockey that the Sabres were playing on Super Bowl Sunday, and they were playing today. They won. And when you pointed out Tampa Bay won or is winning, and the other team, a bunch of teams, but everything's lining up with the Sabres being on Super Bowl Sunday playing as well. And also Brady played for the Montreal Expos, and I noticed the Canadians played Tampa Bay last year in the Stanley Cup Finals, but also they only have 8 wins this year, and their goalie Price has not played, and also Daughtry's stepdaughter Price committed suicide at 25.
Now, did you see my work back when she committed suicide? Let me show you how fucked up this is. I covered it when she died. She died on the Superior General of the Jesuits' birthday, November 12th. Now look at this. Now on 20/1, they come out and say she committed suicide from fentanyl. Well, she died on the Superior General's 73rd birthday. Chris Daughtry equals 73, like sacrifice. And then they come out on the Superior General's 70th day of his age when suicide equals 70 and say it was a suicide with fentanyl. And again, I mean, we called this, the day it happened, we said this is a Jesuit ritual on the Superior General's 73rd birthday, going with Chris Daughtry. And then, boom, on the 70th day of his age, they come out and say it was a suicide. And on 20/1 of all days, when the Jesuit order, that's their number, 201. Just like for all of you guys who saw Meatloaf died on that day. That was the anniversary of Ozzy Osbourne biting the bat off, or the head off a bat. And Meatloaf's known for his Bat Out of Hell album. And Ozzy Osbourne's 201. And again, Cliff Burton from Metallica died while touring with Ozzy Osbourne, and their tour started on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year, and he died on the day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome, which is Meatloaf's birthday. All this shit points back to the Jesuits. All day, every day.
I'm also looking at the narrative of Brady this year, where it's been a year of breaking records. He's broken, they had a list of 12 or 15 records he could break at the beginning of the year. Lo and behold, he's checked off every single one except the last one, which is the MVPs, where Jordan has 6, championship MVPs and Brady's at 5. And so I'm seeing a lot of 8 and 3 stuff, and where you were predicting that Oscar Robertson could die. You said the other day on the 21st. I'm thinking he's a triple-double guy. Wouldn't it be 222 or something like that? But
It's
83.
his death is coming. Sadly, it's going to happen soon. They ended up doing that other basketball player.
I noticed he wore a jersey 12, and every time you see him, he's in a buck 1 or 14. But I saw this poster of him, and it looked like a number 12. It was when he was in college, the Cincinnati Bearcat.
Mm-hmm.
So he wore number 12, and I'm attaching that to the Brady with the 83, the 8 and 3. And I'm thinking Roger Staubach is probably up on deck, too. He might be 80 in 3 days, something like that. But the biggest thing was they're doing this resume with all these records. So I really feel he's going to be in the Super Bowl. And I see all these stories on 1-3, a crowd of Bucks parade through Cherokee, North Carolina. That's where I brought up the Price and Daughtry. He's from North Carolina. And what was the other thing? During the Georgia game, I'm seeing this movie for Uncharted. It's 2 floating pirate ships, and they're being picked up by a helicopter. When you look up, it looks like a pentagon by the device carrying the thing. So I'm and Marky Mark is in it. He's a Boston guy. And his other movie is Infinity with the symbol of 8. And you said yourself they updated Google to Saturn has now 8 rings. So I'm seeing everything about Brady and getting to 8. And even on Facebook, he's with a commercial with, what's his name, Tiger Woods. And Tiger Woods could get his 83rd win, break the tie or whatever, so they're both in that little class. So I was just wondering, but your main story about the cannonball striking the sword, do you fit that into the equation with the Buffalo, the Bills?
I got to think about that one. I got to think about that one. Again, but I mean, it really does stand out with Joe Burrow since his whole legacy kind of is connected to Billy Cannon, and he died on that day, and just it is the time of this Jesuit year.
He does represent Montana, who Brady's idol was. So if he was to beat Joe Burrow, it seems like he's beaten everyone else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Joe Burrow will be a future great quarterback. So they could say he beat him as well.
It's again for people who are tuned in, realize there's a chance that it is the Bengals and Niners Super Bowl. It'll be the Super Bowl that nobody sees coming, even as of right now. It's possible, but there's a great narrative for Brady alive, and there's a great narrative for Mahomes alive too. And again, this is what we talk about on Patreon. But again, I'm not going to put out all the information out here to keep that stuff for the people in the Patreon community. But yeah, I hear what you're saying, man. So we got another week to think about it, and we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Just one question. Somebody in the comments noted the date, 21/3/22. It's Brady's. By the way, it's Brady's 322nd game would be in the Super Bowl. So I find it hard to believe.
No, I know that's not right. It would not be his 320.
No, would be the Super Bowl.
No. I know that's completely wrong. Here, I'll pull it up on the screen right now. I already know that's wrong.
Yeah, the regular season he had 218, and he just played one playoff.
Are we talking about Tom Brady? Tom Brady?
Tom Brady, yeah.
Tom Brady has 362 games under his belt. I'll show you something funny though about Tom Brady, because I already did the thinking on this. If he makes it to the Super Bowl, tomorrow's his 363rd game. If he wins, he's in the NFC Championship for his 364th. That means the Super Bowl would be 365, like the days in a year, which is interesting. So, but yeah, you got to, again, use Football Database. It's got all the career starts under there.
It might be regular season games. Maybe I'm just,
Here, let me see his regular season. I'll look at that. He's on 316 regular season games under his belt, including the postseason, though. He's at 362. Tomorrow's 363.
Man, I was quite sure it was 318 the last regular season, and this.
He'd been past that. No, that happened a long time ago with Brady. We talked about back when he had his 322nd game. That was years ago. So.
Okay. Well, appreciate the time. Everything I'm just. It would be nice if you added the storylines with these narratives along with the gematria.
Isn't that what I always do? That's what we always do. We always look for the storyline.
Yeah. No, don't get me wrong. Yeah, you do. I'm not bashing you at all. I'm like, it just.
I preach that. I preach that it's not just numbers, that you got to see the storylines too. Because if you're trying to that's why every year, because it's funny, because I get so much information sent to me, there's so many Steelers fans. Every year I get like 1,000 emails for how the Steelers are going to go to the Super Bowl, and somebody's crunched all the numbers. Again, it's not just numbers. You got to look at the narratives and also find the numbers that really make sense with the season. I mean, that's the thing about Gematria. You can misuse it and you can try to paint any picture you want, but you got to find what they're locked into. And I mean, that's why the Niners and Bengals thing's possible, because 76 is a big number with Tiger rituals. The Super Bowl is at the start of the year of the Tiger. Joe Burrow's Mr. Bengal Tiger, who played for the LSU Tigers, who beat the Clemson Tigers. Tigers 76. It's the Niners 76 season. They've just done 76 rituals in back-to-back weeks. Now we find out the Super Bowl's 76 days after Joe Burrow's dad's birthday. I mean, that's a storyline, and the numbers are there. I'm still not sold that that's what it's going to be, but to me, that's worth putting a few bucks on because it pays a shit ton. So, anyway, appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, take care. All right, 586. Hello.
What's up, man? I've been trying to get in, man.
You did it.
What's up, Zach? So I just see you've been talking about the 49ers and the Bengals, and it's crazy because I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and I was just looking up. I know it doesn't have a lot of correlation with right now, but it does with the 49ers and Bengals. Actually, the last time the only Super Bowl was in Michigan, it was in the Pontiac Silverdome, and the 49ers played the Bengals.
That was Super Bowl. Let me see. Was that 16?
I believe so. Yeah, I have to look that up. If it was Super Bowl,
it was 16. It was 16 in the Pontiac Silverdome.
Okay, yeah. So the halftime show was Up With People. I'm not too familiar with it.
It was what?
It was performed by Up With People.
Okay.
It's called. So I just looked that up in the Gematrinator, and it's 166. So 16. I know you just said it was a 16 Super Bowl. There's a correlation there. I didn't do too much research on it, but I just it's funny. I'm seeing a lot of the Bengals 49ers, and I just looked this up like a week ago. With the last Super Bowl, the time it was in Michigan, and it's just crazy. I'm just seeing a bunch of 49ers Bengals. I was just wondering your take on all this.
Up With People, I see it. It's got that San Francisco magic number. That group equals 50, like San Francisco's 50, like how they hosted Super Bowl 50, like how they used to be 5-0 in Super Bowls before they lost in the Harbaugh Bowl and then the Joe Montana Bowl. Now they're 5-2 like 49ers. But yeah, I bet you that was a big part of the reason that group performed Up With People. So
yeah, definitely. It's crazy, and I think, too, I'm not really tying it too much to Detroit, but just them restoring Detroit and the whole the Phoenix rising and just everything going on within this world, right now. I know you're talking about the...
You know who's in the halftime performance this year that's from Michigan? Oh, shit, damn it. Sorry, man, I didn't mean to hang up on you. But Eminem's in the halftime performance this year. Stafford came over from Michigan. He's for the Rams now, hosting the Super Bowl. So, could be what it's about. 607?
Yo, this is key information, especially for the game tomorrow. So, I'm actually right. The Bengals are 1-7. And to confirm this, just in the Google search real quick, type in Bengals 07 postseason road record. There's a CBS article on it.
Okay. Well, again, I'm still not. That's not going to convince me that it's right, because sometimes they are fudging these numbers in the articles, like for the season. But the StatMuse is pretty good, and it says they're 0-8 on the road. We can go back and count. So anyway, what's the point?
But the point is, whoever the Bengals end up playing, they're going to be playing on the road, and so that makes sense. So Buffalo is 27, and Bills is 1-8. So it would make perfect sense for the Bengals to go to Buffalo so that they could either get to 2-7 on the road all time in the playoffs or 1-8.
It's possible. We got to figure out for sure what's right, because StatMuse has them at 1-8 in the road.
And they flashed. they showed on the TV screen too during the game. They flashed that stat like 2 or 3 times. It's 0 and they were 0 and 7. It's I don't know. Like StatMuse has to be part of like the Jesuit cabal or something, trying to like throw people off like with wrong stats. Because you did say last week that the Bills got the 47th all-time win versus the Patriots all-time, but StatMuse says it's 46. So, like, I don't – because they did score 47 points, but it looks like that was only their 46th all-time win versus the Patriots.
Well, Football Reference is where we go to for the head-to-head records, and that's always good. Let's see.
Well, did you find this CBS article by just?
I bet you forgot to type in including playoffs, because they have 46 in the regular season. They have 47 in the postseason, if you count the one in the postseason.
No, including playoffs. Did StatMuse just update it or something then? Like, is that what you're seeing on StatMuse?
Well,
right
no,
now?
I'm just saying that's what it is on Football Reference, what we went off of.
All right, Football Reference. Interesting. Because StatMuse, last I checked, had 46 still. So it's like...
I'm just checking what it says on there.
But the Bills winning tomorrow makes a lot of sense because of this Bengals road record in the playoffs. And like that's a key stat. Like it sucks that there's differing like information on it.
StatMuse has the Bills at 47 wins all time versus the Patriots as well. So
okay, that must have updated then. All right, that's right.
Yeah, I'll do some more research on it and find out if it's really 1 and 7 instead of 1 and 8. So we'll see.
All right, man, because I just had to get in there because I didn't want to like call in and like be blatantly wrong.
Just
like,
remember, Billy Cannon though played for the Oilers, who are now the Titans, and the Chiefs. So that's also something to think about. But appreciate it, man. I'm gonna let somebody else get in. All right, 510. What's up?
Hey, what's up, Zach? How you doing, brother?
Doing all right, man. What's up?
Man, I lost all the respect for you today, man.
How's that?
Man, you did not call Bengals and Niners, my brother.
I didn't advise. No, you're full of shit.
I threw big money on the Titans. I threw big money on the
Titans. Well, that
big money.
How did you put big money on Derrick Henry scoring a touchdown?
Because of that 5-4. You've been preaching that 5-4 all year long, and that was your top riddle today, man. That 54.
Okay, and I clearly said in the same stream that if the Bengals upset, which the narrative was there, which I said hedge with the Bengals. I did say hedge with the Bengals, and I said if the Bengals win, then you know the 49ers, you got to invest in the next game. And I also said it would be smart to put in a parlay for Bengals and Niners because that narrative is alive. Both teams have a riddle to upset, and we know how these teams are connected at the hip. So did you take any of that advice?
No, man, all I heard you...
Okay, so you made a big bet, which is something I never advise. I always say the smart people in this community do small parlays that pay big, which is what the Bengals 49ers bet was, along with the Derrick Henry prop. This was all the advice we put out. So let's just say you lost on the Titans. Well, then you should have came back with my advice and put down the same bet on the Niners and won your money back and then some. So if you lost respect from me, it's because you're not smart enough. Chumps lose, losers lose. I did say that. I did say that. Sorry, buddy. You're just another shit-talking, full of shit loser. Fuck off. Again, these people are full of shit, you guys, because everything he's saying is bullshit. I put a ton of money down. I always tell people, don't bet a ton of money. Be smart, and everything he's saying I didn't say, I 100% did say. That guy's a fucking lying fraud and one of the trolls that hangs around here all the time. 347?
Yo, what's up, Brody?
I hear you talking in the fake voice. So what's up, troll? Get to it.
No, I'm not a troll, bro. I got a question though, but it's on football related. So I'm just asking, should I call back another time or?
Well, we're talking football. All right, I'm switching over. What's up, Desmond?
Hey, man, how did you knew my name? Look at you. Hey, so I'm going to give you the punchline here if you want it.
Okay.
Do you want it?
What's the punchline?
So we know this is a big one because of 56, right? I mean, you and I have talked about how we go on and on about how big the 56 is. Society of Jesus. Okay, so here's the esoteric side of it. So I've told you about Dionysus, and that was later became known as Jesus. Dionysus is affiliated with Jupiter, and they've been talking about this return of Jesus / Dionysus. Well, it was about 2 weeks ago I put this together, but so the Bengals defeating the St. Francis, the San Francisco 49ers makes total sense. And there's a guy that, on GematriaEffectNews, S. Chev, he goes by. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Uh-huh.
Okay, so he's big into tarot cards and all kinds of stuff, like goes deep, esoteric. Well, the last 2 tarot cards shows Dionysus taking over the position of the Pope.
Okay.
So that is, as far as I can see, that's the punchline to the riddle. And Dionysus is affiliated with that Blackwater tiger with that tiger ear.
Okay. Could be.
So, I mean, it's deep. It's deep. But, I mean, the 56 is a big one. This is a big one. They're having it on that 44-day. I mean,
and again, what's so interesting is Pope Francis is 59. It's on the 59th day of his age, the Super Bowl, at the start of the year of the Tiger. Tiger does equal 59. And Pope equals 52 forwards, 56 in reverse. Again, Super Bowl 56, the 52nd of the modern era. So, and again...
And I'll go one farther. I can go one farther, and it's real deep, but I've told you about Daniel 243 and then Daniel 244. We just ended the 244th year of the U.S. being a nation. And, so that in itself is a big deal. But it does say that at that point, the God of heaven will establish his kingdom on earth and will destroy all other kingdoms. And they've been talking about this return of Jesus, which that is Dionysus, who became Jesus.
Interesting. Okay.
So, yeah, it's deep, but that's what it is.
All right, man. Appreciate those observations. I got to look more into that one. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yep. Take care.
Yeah, take care. 561? 561.
Hey, Zach, I'm just calling again. I'm sorry, I'm going to keep this brief. So I'm doing finished up with Buffalo and Kansas City notes with the rotation numbers. And what I noticed, pretty much the only cipher, was that the 318, which is Kansas City's rotation number, so 318 Kansas City Chiefs equals 110, and you always say 0 has no factor. And the only thing that I see with these numbers is that how Buffalo can get to 1-1 like 11 all time against the playoffs versus the Chiefs. I was wondering, your opinion on that.
Yeah, I'm not talking about tomorrow's games again. That's what we do on Patreon. So we already did that today.
All
right, later. 586. 586. You got to mute the video and talk through the phone.
What's up, Zach?
Yeah, what's up?
Man, I'm sorry. I know the call hung up, man. I'm just getting back in. I know we were talking about the halftime show and just Eminem. I know you, Dr. Dre on that group too, Death Row Records being from the Bay. I was just looking up Detroit. I know I didn't really, other than 44. I know you mentioned 44 a lot, the ties to the number. But
I think Death Row Records is more Los Angeles than the Bay Area. But
okay, yeah. Excuse me on that one. Sorry. But definitely just tying in. I just was just mentioning that, like me looking up just the numbers, just tying it in. Like honestly, your work has just brought me so much sanity. It's crazy how much I can tie it into my own personal life, but without bringing it into that. Just like the Super Bowl, like I was saying, it being in the Silver Dome. And I've been watching your work for about 2 years now. I know before you had made that video, I think it was about a previous, I forget what the group is, not the Black, it might be the Black Eyed Peas, but you mentioned gold and silver, just the importance of that. I know you have Rambo on a lot, just your two work together. Just the Silver Dome and the 49ers and the Cincinnati playing in Detroit together. Just trying to, get your take on all of that.
yeah, I mean, it's all interesting to think about. What I really wanted to hear from was these sorry-ass haters that talk shit all day. But anyway, man, we talk about the games and break down all that stuff on Patreon. But anyway, man, appreciate it. Do we got a hater out there that can actually make an argument instead of just talk bullshit out of their mouth like it's liquid diarrhea? Is there an actual hater who can do anything besides call in and lie? That's what I hate about all the trolls. They call me a liar while they call in and lie and post lies all day. It's a fucking joke. Is there anyone out there that can make a legitimate argument? No caller ID. Why do they keep calling in and hanging up? I mean, talk about fucking jerk-offs. Calling in and just hanging up once it picks up. These guys are pathetic. 954.
Hey, what's up, man? I just got an interesting stat on the Bills this year. They're one of 8 teams in NFL history to score basically 12. They won 12 games this year by a margin of 12 plus points, and they're one of 8 teams to ever do it. And the other 7 teams that did it all won the Super Bowl.
And who was that team that accomplished that?
The Bills this year, the 2021 Bills.
Oh, okay. Yeah, the Josh Allen thing that could be in Allen's favor is he's the lone number 17 remaining. First season of 17 games. Allen equals 17 the small way, 44 the big way. Played in Wyoming, the 44th state for college. And again, the Super Bowl's on the 44th day of the year, so that's the Josh Allen narrative. But yeah, I don't know.
I got this from NFL on CBS. They're the one that tweeted the stat out. I thought it was interesting.
Give me the stat one more time.
Basically, they're one of 8 teams in NFL history to win 12 or more games by 12 plus points in a single season. And all of those teams won the Super Bowl.
Okay, 12 games by 12 plus points.
Yes, and the other 7 that did it all won the Super Bowl. I can name them for you.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear the list. Let's hear the list. Does it have the Super Bowl number next to it?
The 99 Rams had 14 games where they won 12 plus points. The 02 Bucks won 13 games. The 85 Bears won 13 games. The 2000 Ravens won 12 games. The 98 Broncos won 12 games. The 96 Packers won 12 games. The 91 Redskins won 12 games. And the 2021 Bills won 12 games by 12 or more points.
Yeah, that's an interesting stat. So every team that's ever done that's made it to the Super Bowl, huh?
Made it to the Super Bowl and won the Super Bowl. And this was tweeted out by CBS 2 days ago.
Okay. The Bills nice number narrative if they made it to the Super Bowl is they're 0-4 in Super Bowls. So if they won, they could become 1-4, and LA does have that 14 connection as well. The Bills are an interesting team to me, but yeah, I think there's 3 better narratives than they got right now. So that's a good stat, though.
I meant one thing that ties the 12, that connects the 12 to the Bills. I'm looking at Tom Brady. His next loss in the playoffs would be number 12. And if he got to the Super Bowl, he'd have 37 wins, and I know New York, I think, equals 37.
No, Los Angeles is 37. New York's the 39. So.
Oh, okay. Sorry, that is. But the 12. His next loss is his 12th loss in the playoffs.
Sure, I do hear that number. Tom 12. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Good stat. I appreciate it. I'll think more about it. Thank you.
All right. Thanks.
All right. See you. 364. 364, another person that calls and hangs up. Yeah, you guys, I just want you to realize the people that hang around here and harass the community all the time, the real reason they do is because they probably work for these same Wayne Sexton types, and they hate that we've totally identified. I mean, like, I don't even want to answer no caller ID. It's just, like, listen, losers. Listen, you sorry-ass fucking pieces of shit. My work's more than just calling sports games. My work is about showing who is fucking with the world. Like, why are there headlines like this every day? Airstrike kills 70 people and knocks out the internet in Yemen. Airstrike equals 70. And what day did this happen? 70 days after the Superior General's birthday. You know? And if you missed my work from earlier in the week, I was showing how all the shit going on in Yemen all points back to the Jesuits even before this happened. Jesuits run your whole fucking world, man. The sports games are the distraction from their terrorism across the earth. No caller ID. You keep calling in. Every time I pick up, you just hang up. Like, what the fuck's wrong with you? God. Probably gets a break from the Waynell Sexton if he comes and trolls here. So that's why he does it. It's my only break from Waynell Sexton. 989.
989. Hey, dude, you see the Lions 313 in the Detroit area code 313 in a 17-game season? I mean, give me a break.
Oh, wait, hold on. What happened with the 313 though?
The Lions went 313 in the Detroit area code in a 17-game season, though. I mean,
How'd they go 313? How'd they go 313? I'm not following that.
Because they tied that game. It's fucking absurd, dude. What are the odds on that?
Oh, you mean their record at one point in the season was 313?
No, they ended the season at 3-1-3. 3-1-3-1, the tie.
I got to pull up the standings. I'm not understanding how that record could be 3-1-3.
They won 3 games. They lost 13 games. 3-1-3.
Okay, I got it. They went 3-13, and Detroit's the 313 area code. Okay.
Yeah, but you got to think, dude, it's a 17-game season. Like, what are the odds they would tie a game and go 3-1-3?
And that's the Detroit area code?
Yeah, it's just too damn convenient. I mean, give me a break.
Well, the area codes come up huge in sports again and again. It was misleading today in the Nashville game because had the Bengals lost, they would have been 6-15 in the playoffs, and Nashville is the 615 area code, but it seems like it's more about this year of the Tiger shit right now, so... But yeah, the area code stuff happens. I mean, that's how we called the Philly to upset the Warriors the other week. The Warriors fell to 21-5 in the 215 area code in Philly, while Curry's on a $215 million contract. Area codes come up a lot.
I actually lost money on that game, dude.
Who lost money?
ABC Saturday night.
You lost money on that game?
Yeah, well, I remember, dude. It was on Saturday night.
You didn't take the Warriors to fall to 21-5 in the 215?
Dude, how am I supposed to figure that out when they were like 25-3 at the time or some bullshit?
They were 21-4. So.
Oh yeah, because the area code. Yeah, but dude, still, how am I supposed to just figure that out?
Oh, we knew that was free money in our community, man. That's why I mean, if you guys bet money on sports and you don't follow us, I don't know what you're doing. We're the best investment in sports gambling there ever was. I charge $5 a month, man. That was free money.
So. Right? Yeah, I don't know, dude. I try not to do it, because then you do it, and then you lose. You know what I mean?
Sounds like you're losing without the information. Anyway, later, man. Guy sounds confused. He's betting and losing, and he's like, how would I know in that? Well, you drop $5 a month on my page, you would have had that one, 364?
Yeah, it's me right here. All right, it looks like I'm a little behind. Pretty straightforward question for you. Who is the they in this situation?
I don't even know how you can ask me that question. Have you watched the presentation I've given?
No. I never saw any of this. This just popped up on my YouTube, and it's interesting.
Okay, here, let me go back and explain it to you who the they is. Let me explain to you who the they is. Okay. The Jesuit Order. The Jesuit Order is the they. I talk about this every single day. That's what this whole stream's been about. I started at the beginning. Here's what I do. Take the red bar at the bottom of the screen and just rewind to the beginning and watch the first 10 minutes, and you'll have all the answers.
And you talk about the Jesuit Order?
It's the Jesuits that do this all day, every day. Tell me, where did Vince Lombardi go to school?
I don't know.
He went to Jesuit University, Fordham. Just like Donald Trump, just like Cuomo, a lot of these Jesuits come out of Fordham. And Vince Lombardi died unexpectedly where?
That was a spot.
He died unexpectedly at Jesuit Georgetown. And again, everybody plays for that Lombardi trophy every year. It's all Jesuits. Jesuit Order 54. That's why they're doing all this 54 shit with the Bengals in their 54th season. And again, Joe Burrow in history went from Ohio State to LSU on the same day Billy Cannon died. The exact same day. Billy Cannon was the only player to ever win the Heisman for LSU. And Billy Cannon is the only player for LSU to win the championship against Clemson in New Orleans, just like Joe Burrow. But the day he died, Billy Cannon, is the day Ignatius of Loyola began founding the Jesuits because he got shot with a cannonball that day and couldn't be a warrior on the battlefield anymore. That's how fucked up all this stuff is. But it's the Jesuits. The movie They Live with Roddy Piper is all about the Jesuits. Have you ever seen that movie, They Live?
I have heard about it. I never saw it. I know John Carpenter directed it.
Yes. So They Live is all about the Jesuits. That's why it came out the weekend of Guy Fawkes Day, which is the big Jesuit tried to blow up British Parliament. It's why Roddy Piper died on the same day Ignatius of Loyola, the founder of the Jesuits, did. It's also why Roddy Piper tweeted on September 27th, the day the Jesuits were recognized by Rome, that They Live was a documentary. And it's also why the movie came out 201 days after Roddy Piper's birthday, because that's the Jesuits' biggest number. Again, the Jesuit order equals 201, Ignatius of Loyola equals 201, Jorge Mario Bergoglio is 201, that's the first Jesuit pope, who's the first to live in Suite 201. You just had a huge Jesuit ritual with Meatloaf dying on 20/1. That's the day Ozzy Osbourne bit the head off a bat. Meatloaf's known for Bat Out of Hell, and Ozzy Osbourne equals 201. And if you know Metallica, Cliff Burton died on the Jesuit recognition date, which is Meatloaf's birthday, after touring with Ozzy Osbourne, starting on the day, leaving 201 days left in the year. This shit goes on all over. That's why Chris Daughtry, his daughter, died on the Superior General of the Jesuits' birthday, and then on his 70th day of his age, they come out and say it was a suicide on 20/1. And suicide equals 70. The Jesuits got this whole world controlled. From the Oval Office to these rigged-ass sports games in every league to what the shit you read in the news. I mean, I've been talking about the whole night. For you to call in and ask who they is, I could tell you must have just tuned in. But the Jesuits run the whole fucking show, man. Event 201's your coronavirus pandemic simulation put on by a Jesuit. The next thing you know, you have a coronavirus pandemic. The Jesuits are behind everything. The pandemic, all this shit.
Okay, since we are talking about football, one more question, though. As far as you had mentioned earlier that you can't just rely on the numbers, you have to consider the storyline. How do you balance that out? Is there one that's more important than the other, or?
You put it together, the numbers and the storyline. It all goes together.
Okay.
I mean, what are the odds that Billy Cannon dies? Look, what are the odds that Billy Cannon dies on the day that the founder of the Jesuits was shot by a cannonball?
That's crazy.
Now, here's what else. This year I told everybody circle December 7th, Pearl Harbor Day, and I said, watch, that's 201 days after the first ever Ignatian year began. I said, the day will just be full of Jesuit headlines. And one of the stories was Nick Cannon's son died. See how that works? Ignatius of Loyola, 201, the Jesuit order, 201. Nick Cannon's son dies 201 days after the Ignatian year began, that begins on the day that Ignatius of Loyola got shot by a cannonball. Another story that broke on that day was Medina Spirit died. Earlier this year, we called Medina Spirit to win the Kentucky Derby, known as the Run for the Roses. Run for the Roses equals 201. The reason we called that is because it was the jockey on that horse was the only jockey coming into the race with 201 races under his belt for the day. And where do they race at it for the Kentucky Derby? What's the name of that track?
Churchill Downs?
Churchill. Who's the big church that runs the world? The Catholic Church. I'm telling you already, man. The Jesuits serve the Catholic Church. Do you know who the Jesuits are?
Well, so if this is more of a Catholic thing, then why do so many people believe that the Jews run the world?
Because the Jesuits were created to counter the Protestant Reformation. Who was the Protestant Reformation against?
You tell me.
Well, again, you got to know these things. The Catholics and the Jews. That's why the Jews converted to Catholicism and founded the Jesuit order. Now listen to this. When you write out the Jesuit order, it equals 201. What's the official name of Israel? Do you know what its official name is? It's called State of Israel, and that equals 201. And that's why the founder of Israel, David Ben-Gurion, died 201 days after the anniversary of its establishment. It's also why June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year, Netanyahu steps down. The same shit's going on in Israel that's going on over here in the Jesuit-controlled U.S. The Jesuits control all these things. The Jesuits are Catholic and Jewish, and they were created to counter the movement against both of them.
You're blowing my mind right now, man.
Here's another one for you. If you write out "They live, we sleep," which is the motto from "They Live," it equals Society of Jesus, which is the formal title for the Jesuits. Just on May 20th, 2020. See, you missed everything at the beginning. At May 20th, 2020, the same day that Billy Cannon died, the same day that Ignatius of Loyola began his movement to start the Jesuits, the superior general of the Jesuits died, their leader. He died at age 84. Jesuit equals 84, superior general 84. Ignatius of Loyola himself died 84 days from his birthday, but he dies at 84 on the specific date. It's the day leaving 225 days left in the year. His name, Adolfo Nicholas, equals 225. 5 days after that, George Floyd divides the whole country in a massive 201 ritual. George Floyd died on his 225th day of his age. 1 day after that, the news breaks out of the Catholic Church of Minnesota that they're settling for $22.5 million for sexual abuse of children. The day after that, the story comes out about George Floyd's second grade teacher, Waynell Sexton. Waynell Sexton, like anal sex, like raping children, like $22.5 million, like George Floyd on his 225th day of his age. Do you know how many years in prison Derek Chauvin, the cop, got?
22 and a half.
That's exactly what he got, 225. Now, George Perry Floyd equals 201, and his killing was 201 weeks on the nose after Adama Traore, who was killed on the 201st day of the year in Paris, France, where the Jesuits are from, who was killed in the same way and had the same kind of protest happen as his country. And now they come and start the jury for George Floyd on 20/1, and then they set the trial to start June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year, as they blast you with the Capitol insurrection, which came after George Floyd, and the Albert Pike statue fell right after the George Floyd riots, the only Confederate statue in D.C., and from the day it fell to the insurrection was 201 days later. And if you don't know this, the Act of 1871, the official name of it, that happened because of the Civil War, where Washington, D.C. became a city-state, the name of that act equals 201. And Washington, D.C. has been an independent city-state owned and operated by the Jesuits and the Catholic Church ever since 1871. By the way, Catholic alone equals 71. That's why we just saw Donald Trump, who's also in the Jesuit fraternity, who's born on the day leaving 201 days left in the year, lose his brother at age 71 on the Jesuit birthday. But the Jesuits own it all. They own Joe Biden. Joe Biden's from Scranton, Pennsylvania, where the office is set that ran 201 episodes. Again, and by the way, Joe Biden, his wife and daughter died in 201 rituals after he became senator-elect. His son, Beau Biden, died 201 days before the Pope's birth. That could go on all day, man. It's 201 all over the place. This is the Jesuits' number. They run the world. They run the NFL. It's all their show, man.
All right, one other thing. So just to go back to They Live, because I'm definitely going to watch this movie. I'm looking at it right now. If John Carpenter, the director of this movie, if he was putting these subliminal messages in there and letting the world know about this, does that give you the sense that maybe he was privy to this information?
Fuck yeah. Of course he was. Listen, when you watch the movie, the enemy of the movie is Cable 54. He blows up Cable 54 and everybody comes out of the spell at the end. Now, if this whole stream's been about 54, Jesuit Order 54, Joe Montana 54, Super Bowl 54 was his two teams. Joe Burrow's birthday was 54 days. He gets drafted to the Bengals, who Montana beat twice. Right after Super Bowl 54, now on the anniversary of the Niners beating the Bengals in Super Bowl 23, the Niners and Bengals both win today. 54 days after Joe Burrow's birthday. Again, go watch They Live, and then look at what I'm talking about here, and you'll be like, holy fucking shit. He puts on glasses, and then he sees the hidden message. The glasses are seeing the numbers behind the rituals.
Okay. One other quick thing. Stanley Kubrick made a movie, Eyes Wide Shut, and he died right before it was released.
He died 666 days before 2001. 2001: A Space Odyssey. A Prophecy. That movie came out in 1968, the same year World Trade Center construction began, the same year 911 became the national emergency dialing code, New York and Sumerian Gematria 666 like prophecy. Again, all this stuff is connected. It's not an accident that he died 666 days before the start of that year.
So was it possible that he was trying to show this to the world.
Of course they are. Of course they are. That's why these people are in the club, man. The guy who made the Zapruder film is in the club, and that's why the slide where JFK's head. I mean, I wrote books about all this stuff. They're putting their numbers all throughout history. They're telling us the truth for people with eyes to see. I mean, it's I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's their ethics or what, but yeah, they put the truth out there in plain sight for people with eyes to see.
All right, I appreciate the information. I appreciate everything you said. I'm going to watch that movie, They Live. It seems fascinating.
Indeed. And then when I'm done with my new book, I'll make it free for people who want to download. And the first chapter is called They Live, and I just show how the whole shit's synced up. I mean, Roddy Piper, everything about the movie, his death, what he tweeted, it's all Jesuit ritual. He was trying to tell people. That's why he said that movie's a documentary. I mean, when you watch it, you're going to be like... The other thing that's fucked up about that movie is the powers that shouldn't be say they're going to have the whole world taken over by the year 2025. And we're not too far from that year. So anyway, watch the movie.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, take care. And 2025 reminds me a lot of 225, like we were just talking about with Waynell Sexton and George Floyd. So anyway... again, if we could just get one decent critic who could do anything besides talk loud and say a whole bunch of shit, that would be great. I'd just like to hear an interesting, intelligent critic, but I'm not sure I got one. What's up, 586?
What's up, man? This is the last thing. Yeah, nothing here critiquing anything, but just a serious question. Like, so, yeah, I looked up, you got Joe Burrow in the 46 and the 16. I know I was talking about 16, or we were talking about 16 earlier with the Super Bowl and halftime. A serious question with you is, though, so for these people, like, just in this Jesuit world we live in, so do you think, like, his parents are played in with this shit when they...
Of course they are. Of course they are. His dad was in the league. His dad was drafted into the NFL.
Okay, yeah. So
that's how they're doing it. That's what I'm always explaining. So many of these people in the league have parents that were in the league. They're born into it. Their lives are fucking scripted. Think about how perfect it is. How can it be that Joe... That's why he is Joe Burrow. I mean, it's not that he's not good. He has the right genetics. He's a big guy. He can throw the ball. He's trained his whole life for this. This is what you should do if you trained your whole damn life for this position. But, I mean, again, it all started with, him beating the Tigers, Super Bowl 54. His birthday is 54 days before Super Bowl 54, which was the Joe Montana Bowl. And now in this 54th Bengals season, all these nonstop riddles all year paying tribute between the Bengals and 49ers. We've been documenting it all year, and today's just the most blatant thing yet.
Yeah, it's just blatant smack in your face, If you have your eyes open, you can see the shit. It's crazy.
Look at it. How do you deny it? Bengals win 19-16 on the anniversary of the Bengals-Niners Super Bowl. Joe Montana wore jerseys 19 and 16, and then it's Super Bowl 23 and the 49ers win like they won the Super Bowl with 23 combined points in the game. I mean, you have to be so brain dead or so much cognitive dissonance to ignore this.
It's insane to me. The incompetency among us is beyond that. That it's crazy. I don't contest anything you're saying. It's crazy. But what just goes to me too, like you're saying, just him being an athlete, just the bullshit of like, yeah, he's an athlete, but he's still, he's got his higher ups are telling him his fucking script and what the fuck he's got to do is puppet on the strings. And just how tied it in it is, and how everyone just, you got the people who are on stage perform or whatever. They know who's what. They got the fucks watching them who are gonna keep showing up to the show, and what's really going on. And it's just crazy how they've been playing it in this world, like you said, just the circus. Keeping the people their bread and wine, and they're all calm and everything.
You know what's fucked? I gotta tell you something, man. I keep talking about 225. I didn't even look at this the whole time, but know what? I was meant to be talking about 225 tonight. This ritual took place 225 days after Joe Montana's birthday, man. And what's funny is he's 65. The official name of the Knights Templar equals 225, and the shortened name Knights Templar equals 65. For all of you guys who have Netflix, there's a show about the Knights Templar. Nightfall, and in there they talk about how they have 65 different chapters in Europe. Europe used to be ruled by the Catholic Church. That's why Catholic and Europe equal the same thing. But fucking A, look at that. It's even 225 days after Joe Montana's birthday. That's how Jesuit, Catholic, all this shit is. And he went to Notre Dame.
it's so fucking lined up. And even, Joe Montana just being, I know he won the Super Bowl, in Detroit and everything, like I was saying with the 49ers. And then just also, Jesuit, I looked up, Jesuit's obviously 42, all the fucking blatant shit they got going on in Michigan right now. You had that school shooting, the kid wore 42 in high school, 42, the score, everything else on the fucking jerseys. They got the fucking Masonic Lodge. They have a Masonic Lodge. I know you say that's in every state. They have, a whole Masonic Lodge right in Michigan. It's right by like 13 Mile, whatever. It's a whole Masonic Lodge. It's crazy just how much this shit is surrounding you in this fucking world. Is just all of the, like, I'm just trying to keep my sanity in this shit. Is insane. And how you do it. And I know you got a lot of fucking trolls coming on here just blowing the shit up and, it's keeping it going like that. But it's, it's just crazy to me how, like, just, the fucking Jesuits have everything controlled on a fucking string.
Well, here's my advice to you since you're trying to maintain your sanity. I know how that feels. But it's just like you got to realize that the majority of the people in this world are not very smart. They're closed-minded. They're totally programmed. All they believe is the authority that they've been trained to believe in their whole life. They're probably never going to see the obvious that's right in front of their face. And you can't let that drive you insane. You just got to put your energy in doing whatever, always improving your position, your knowledge base. I mean, for a while I had to just tune out humanity and just sit back and read books and just say, like, fuck, I understand why Walden wanted to go live in the woods and shit, but I mean, that's, I like to be around people, so, but I mean, it's just, you can't let other people drive you nuts, because they will if you let them. You just gotta realize, like, this is the way it is, man. This is the world we live in for whatever fucking reason.
100%. I feel you on that too. And it's definitely like a balance. Definitely not trying to drive myself off the wall, just getting others. I just think too, just being someone who has obtained this knowledge or sees this, as much as the people I care about. I know you talk about like not bringing this too personal, but just like you say, your relationship with your sister, how she doesn't see it. I haven't gotten too deep into it with my family because I feel like a lot of them are just blind. But just like trying to, bring the information to the ones you care about, even though, whether they ignore it or not. But just, like you said, you can't make a horse drink the water. But
well, stay strong out there, man, because the world needs truth seekers. I mean, that's why you gotta look at yourself. You gotta be like, all right, I'm fucking special in this fucked up world. But like all things, good and bad, man, it can be annoying being the only one who's awake. But anyway, the world needs you, so stay strong out there.
The world needs you, man. I appreciate you.
All right,
man. I appreciate you answering my call. Have a blessed one.
Yeah, take care, man. And again, just the fact that Joe Montana's nickname was always Joe Cool, right? Now they're calling Joe Burrow Joe Cool. I mean, it's just that they put it in people's faces, man. It's just like last week. Before the game started on the 16th of January, before the Niners upset the Cowboys, they kept showing the highlight of Joe Montana 16 to Dwight Clark, who, by the way, died by the numbers, R.I.P., That's the guy who caught the pass. I can't believe that this is... man, isn't it funny that I've been talking about the two... I didn't even realize that it was 225 days after Montana's birthday. These people, man, they got their numbers. 661?
Hey, Zach, let me pause this real quick. I've been following you for about a month, and I just want to take a step back from the sports, and maybe it will connect to the sports. I was looking at... pull up my notes here. I got on the Free to Find Truth website too for the presidency coming up. I know somebody maybe read some of my comments on there. I kept throwing out May 30th. It's St. Joan of Arc day that day. May 30th is Memorial Day. It's the 154th anniversary of the holiday originally known as Decoration Day. It's going to be the 51st Memorial Day since it's been called Memorial Day. U.S. President is 51. Joe Biden's dead equals 51. May 30th is 175 days after Pearl Harbor, and I think it leaves 175 days to Joe Biden's next birthday. It's 201 days after Veterans Day, May 30th. It's 201 days before the Pope's birthday, December 17th. Then I'm going to get into President Harris. I'm just reading through some quick notes. Pearl Harbor is 138, like President Harris. May 30th is 191 days after Joe Biden's birthday, which is Society of Jesus. It's 191. May 30th is the 72nd day of spring. Jesuit Order 72. May 30th leaves 22 days left until summer. May 30th is the 22nd Monday of 2022. May 30th is the 22nd week of 2022. Jesuit is 22. May 30th is 222 days from Kamala Harris' birthday. President Harris and President Kamala Harris both equal 222. 150th day of the year is May 30th. 5 times 30 would be 150. Illuminati is 150. U.S. President is 150. There's 215 days left in the year, or 216, including the day. That's 6 times 6 times 6 would be 216. Written out in words, 2022 equals 215. 530. 5 plus 30 would be 35, like the word I-E-Y-E. 35, 17, 46, and 10. 17 would be the Pope's birthday. 46 would be Joe Biden. 10 would be May 30th, is the 10th day of the Ignatian year. May 1st, the Illuminati birthday. 29 days after that, 29th prophecy would be May 30th. May 30th is also 42 days from April 19th, Ignatius of Loyola becoming a general, superior general. 530, 222 has a 14 and 41 date numerology, like 1541, the year that Ignatius became the superior general. Plus 150 resembles 15 and 41, or 15 and 51. May 30th leaves 144 days until Kamala Harris's next birthday. Jesuit Order is 144. It's also 175 days after Pearl Harbor, and it leaves 175 days until Joe Biden's next birthday. Pope Francis is 175. And I saw some of the Whore of Babylon stuff, so I looked at that. Born in 64, Whore of Babylon is 64. Kamala Harris was born in 64. Kamala Harris, Whore of Babylon equals 150.
I appreciate all the information. What's the main point you want to make with this?
Prediction. You know, I've only been following you for a month. I was looking at something that seems to be a given that's going to happen.
You're talking about just Joe Biden kicking the bucket and Kamala Harris replacing him.
Right.
I imagine you saw the video I showed of Ford saying how we'll get the first female president when she's the VP and the president dies in office. So for people who don't, I mean, let's just tell them that, man, instead of burying them in a million numbers. Again, look this up. Gerald Ford on October 18th, God, what year was it? 1989, I think. Gerald Ford at the Herbert Hoover Library answers a little girl's question about how we'll get the first female president. He says she won't be voted in, she'll be the vice president, the president will die, and then we'll get our first female president. Now, what's fucked up about it is he said it at the Herbert Hoover Library, and the day that Kamala Harris was born is the exact day that Herbert Hoover died. And so anyway, it's going to happen. I mean, there's a number of dates it could happen on. But anyway, I'm glad you're using the knowledge and going to town. Keep it up. But I'm just, it's the end of the day and there's too many numbers right now. So anyway, call us back if the prediction lands. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, see you. 314.
Yeah, man, I was just calling in, man, I wanted to chime in on about Kayla and today's live stream today when she talked about the fucking prop bet for the kicker.
She was dead on about the kickers. You guys are exactly what's wrong with the world. I mean,